Chapter 8:17. After refining half of the Tao Spirit, the Blood Dragon Emperor has finally reached its limit. The soul power in my body has also reached saturation. After more than 2 months of refining, Yi Chunfeng had reached the limit of his realm. His cultivation foundation was unbreakable. Everything was ready. With the help of the powerful Tao Spirit, he started to break through the bottleneck. Rumble! When Yi Chunfeng tried to break through to the level 2 combat beast emperor, rolling dark clouds appeared in the space above his head again, covering the blazing sun. The entire space was pitch black. As expected, I have attracted the heavenly punishment by refining the Tao Spirit that shouldn't have appeared in the Duhan continent. Feeling the heavenly punishment from the dark clouds, Yi Chunfeng woke up from his cultivation. However, Devil Saint Cold Knight's Tao Spirit had been severely weakened after countless years of suppression. Therefore, the heavenly punishment it attracted was far inferior to the 5 elements heavenly punishment and the heaven and earth Tao diagram. Heavenly punishment. Qingfeng broke through to the level 2 combat beast emperor and attracted the heavenly punishment again. How did he do it? Fu Qingshan and the others who were cultivating were also awakened by Yi Chunfeng's heavenly punishment. Fu Qingshan and the King of Massacre couldn't help but reveal envious expressions as they looked at the dark clouds that filled the sky and felt the death energy contained in the tribulation clouds. Although the heavenly punishment was extremely dangerous, the benefits were immeasurable. They didn't dare to imagine how high Yi Chunfeng's comprehension of Tao intent would reach after breaking through to the level 2 combat beast emperor after the heavenly punishment's baptism. After the time for an incense stick to burn, a deafening thunderclap that reverberated through the 9 heavens resounded from within the thick tribulation clouds, and it alarmed the entire chaotic cloud peak. The heavenly beasts and spirit beasts in the depths of the mountain range were so frightened that they started to flee. The entire chaotic cloud peak was plunged into chaos. Even the true demon clan and the heavenly star all heaven cities spies, who were hiding in the mountain range, were alerted. What's going on? Could there be a terrifying demonic beast undergoing tribulation in the depths of the chaotic cloud peak? Looking at the violently tumbling tribulation clouds, the scouts of the 2 major forces widened their eyes in shock. He's here. Yi Chunfeng looked at the tribulation cloud spinning rapidly above his head, causing great changes in the world, and the terrifying power of the heavenly punishment gathering at an extremely fast speed. He opened his eyes that were like lightning and slowly stood up. At this moment, his entire body was surging with qi and blood. The power in his body was rolling like a huge wave. He raised his head and looked at the sky. Sword will was torrential, as if a sword god had descended to the mortal world. Rumble! The swirling tribulation clouds trembled. A heavenly punishment, as thick as a water bucket and containing the power of the great Tao, broke through the thick tribulation clouds. It carried an endless destructive power as it tore apart the ancient seal hidden in the chaotic clouds peak and bombarded Yi Chunfeng. Yi Chunfeng's eyes were filled with fearlessness as he faced the destructive attack of the heavenly punishment. He stepped forward with his sword and appeared in the void, welcoming the heavenly punishment's baptism with his strongest stance. Boom! The dragon-like heavenly punishment of the great path bombarded his powerful body, causing his body to tremble. In an instant, he was swallowed up. The terrifying power of the great Tao was like a surging tide, crazily destroying his body. It drilled into his body, wanting to destroy him. Sword Tao intent, 5 Tao intent, life and death Tao intent, heaven and earth Tao intent. Yi Chunfeng, with his astonishing physical strength, was not afraid at all when facing the terrifying attack of the heavenly punishment. He completely unleashed the Tao intent that he had comprehended and waved his fist to receive the attack. He tore apart the terrifying heavenly punishment and improved his comprehension of the Tao intent. Too strong, Qingfeng is too strong. He actually used such a method to pass the tribulation. I really want to know how strong he will be when he breaks through to the second-grade combat beast emperor realm. Fu Qingshan was deeply shocked when he saw Yi Chunfeng face the heavenly punishment head-on. Although Fu Qingshan had comprehended the spear Dao intent and the light Dao intent to the fifth heavenly layer with the help of the great Dao pill and had successfully broken through to the second-grade combat beast emperor realm, he felt that Yi Chunfeng would only need one move to kill him. After breaking through to the second-grade combat beast emperor realm, young Master Yi should be able to kill an ordinary fifth-grade combat beast emperor without any external help, said the King of Massacre. He was also deeply impressed by Yi Chunfeng's shocking strength. Standing within the heavenly punishment, Yi Chunfeng attacked with all his might. When he unleashed his shocking will of the Great Path and continuously tore apart the heavenly punishment, a strange power suddenly appeared within the heavenly punishment. It burrowed into his sea of soul and directly attacked his soul. Soul attack. Yi Chunfeng did not expect the heavenly punishment to contain a soul attack. With his soul injured, his head felt like it was being pricked by needles. His reaction speed also slowed down a little. His whole body was smashed to the ground by the terrifying heavenly punishment. God-Eater Brain, protect the soul. At the crucial moment, Yi Chunfeng controlled the God-Eater Brain to protect the soul. It devoured the mysterious power that attacked the soul and stabilized his body. In the next moment, Yi Chunfeng took a step forward. Hundreds of swords shot out at the same time. Sword-based Dao patterns continuously revolved around his body, crushing the crazily attacking heavenly punishment. Following that, the Dao intent of heaven and earth, the Dao intent of 5 elements, and the Dao intent of life and death fused together, forming a huge Dao intent hand. It faced the sky and continuously destroyed the terrifying heavenly punishment. Boom! Following a series of earth-shattering explosions, Yi Chunfeng's Dao intent hand directly shattered the dragon-like heavenly punishment, blasting a huge hole in the thick tribulation clouds. What is that? A huge hand. Could it be that it's not a demonic beast undergoing tribulation in the depths of the chaotic clouds peak? Look, a human figure. A human figure is rushing into the tribulation clouds. Just as the rapidly approaching True Demon Clan and Xingluo Heaven City's experts were deeply shocked by Yi Chunfeng's Dao intent hand, and their legs went soft. Suddenly, they saw a blurry figure, like an invincible divine sword, breaking into the tribulation clouds that were filled with destructive Dao intent. Boom, boom, boom. After Yi Chunfeng rushed into the tribulation clouds, he immediately unleashed his strength and Dao intent to the extreme. He continuously destroyed the heavenly punishment that was surging from all directions, sharpening his body, refining his Dao intent, and breaking into the second-grade combat beast emperor realm. His body's potential was also constantly stimulated by the intense bombardment. He crazily fused with the energy released by the Dao spirit, transforming his body. As time passed, Yi Chunfeng, who was continuously undergoing the baptism of heavenly punishment, had a deeper understanding of Dao intent. A large number of Dao patterns were engraved in his body. Devil Sage Cold Knight's Dao spirit was also completely released under the baptism of heavenly punishment, completely fusing with Yi Chunfeng's body. After fusing with the Dao spirit's energy, Yi Chunfeng's body was burning like an oven. His terrifying soul power directly broke through the crisscrossing bottleneck and broke into the second-grade combat beast emperor realm. His strength had greatly increased. Heavenly punishment, break for me. After breaking through, a dragon's roar that could pierce through clouds and split rocks resounded. Yi Chunfeng, who was standing in the void, released a terrifying power that bombarded the rolling tribulation clouds. It tore apart the terrifying tribulation clouds in one fell swoop, breaking the heavenly punishment. Universe realm, open the first layer of space. Yi Chunfeng poured his billowing soul power into the universe realm, breaking through all the restrictions in the first layer of space. With a thought, he entered the universe realm. Mobile reading site, book address, For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button below to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 8:18. What a dense spiritual energy! After opening all the restrictions in the first layer of the universe realm, Yi Chunfeng discovered that the spiritual energy in the first layer of the universe realm had reached an extremely dense level. In the core region of the first layer of space, the spiritual energy in the air was in a liquid state. Every strand of liquid spiritual energy was worth as much as a spirit pill. This universe realm is truly worthy of being a relic left behind by a god or demon. If I cultivate in this space, my cultivation speed will probably be 10 times faster than the outside world. Yi Chunfeng took a deep breath and absorbed a large amount of liquid spiritual energy into his body. He immediately felt all the cells in his body become active. He felt refreshed and comfortable. Those are ancient vines. The ancient vines needed to refine the ultimate Emperor Tao pill. When Yi Chunfeng released his powerful soul force to cover the entire universe realm, he discovered that there were large amounts of heaven and earth spiritual items growing in the newly opened space. Among those heaven and earth spiritual items, there were 2 grayish-brown tree vines that were wrapped around an ancient tree. They were in the shape of a gourd and were covered in ancient runes. They attracted Yi Chunfeng's attention. These 2 grayish-brown tree vines were one of the main ingredients to refine the ultimate Emperor Tao pill, the ancient vines. Apart from the ancient vines, there were several other top-grade heaven and earth spiritual items that were also valuable. However, Yi Chunfeng did not pick them and left them for the spirit fish to eat. He disappeared. Why did Chunfeng suddenly disappear? The king of massacre, Fu Qingshan, and the spirit fish widened their eyes as they watched Yi Chunfeng mysteriously disappear after the heavenly tribulation. They were all stunned. Just as the 3 of them released their powerful soul force to sense Yi Chunfeng's whereabouts, a blurry figure suddenly appeared. Yi Chunfeng had left the universe realm and returned to the sky. Chunfeng, where did you go? Fu Qingshan did not know about the existence of the universe realm and asked in a daze. Let's go. I'll bring you to a good place to cultivate. Yi Chunfeng smiled and said, Don't resist the teleportation power. As he spoke, Yi Chunfeng controlled the universe realm and released a powerful teleportation power, sending Fu Qingshan, the king of massacre, and the other 2 into the universe realm. What a rich spiritual energy! What a beautiful place! Chunfeng, where is this? Fu Qingshan discovered that there was a large amount of liquid spirit qi floating in the universe realm, and lush heaven and earth spiritual herbs were growing. His heart was in turmoil. He never thought that Yi Chunfeng would have such a spatial treasure that could accommodate living beings. This is a treasure I obtained in the misty, immortal realm. Yi Chunfeng slowly spoke. From now on, all of you will cultivate here. Your cultivation speed will be 10 times faster than the outside world. Moreover, you can freely pick the worldly treasures that grow here. Alright, then I won't hold back. Fu Qingshan laughed heartily as he absorbed the 2 strands of liquid spiritual energy into his body. Then, he became spirited and said happily, Alright, everyone cultivate in this new space. 21 days later, we will try to attack the Xingluo Imperial Mausoleum. If we still can't break open the tomb door, we will leave this place and head to the Xingluo Heavenly City. Yi Chunfeng smiled and said. After speaking, Yi Chunfeng and the other 3 found a suitable place to cultivate in the first level of the universe realm. They absorbed the liquid spiritual energy and continued to cultivate in seclusion. After going through the baptism of the heavens punishment, Yi Chunfeng's body was engraved with a large number of reproduction Tao patterns. He removed all distracting thoughts and controlled the God-Eater brain to understand these Tao patterns and sublimate his own understanding of Tao intent. Life and Death Tao Intent 6th Heaven. Heaven and Earth Tao Intent 6th Heaven. 5 elements Tao intent 6th heaven. Sword Tao intent 8th heaven. Illusion Tao intent 6th heaven. After more than 10 days of comprehension, Yi Chunfeng's 5 great Tao intents had all been sublimated to the next level. Especially the sword Tao intent, which had reached the 8th level. With the sublimation of the sword Tao intent, Yi Chunfeng's soul spirit and sword spirit were one step closer to fusing. He felt that it wouldn't be long before his soul spirit and sword spirit could perfectly fuse. At that time, his attack power would reach a level that would make people tremble in fear. On the 3rd day after Yi Chunfeng sublimated his 5 great Tao intents, the spirit fish, who had refined the great Tao elixir and consumed a large number of heaven and earth spirit herbs and was on the verge of a breakthrough, also felt her own heaven's punishment. This caused Yi Chunfeng to have no choice but to teleport her out of the universe realm to receive the baptism of the heaven's punishment. Monster. This Yi Chunfeng is a monster, and so is the spirit fish. Her heaven's punishment is actually even more terrifying than Chunfeng's heaven's punishment. Seeing the spirit fish bathed in the heaven's punishment and struggling with all her might, Fu Qingshan's confidence took a hit. He knew that if he didn't want to be a burden, he had to cultivate with all his might. Otherwise, he would be left behind by Yi Chunfeng and the spirit fish. Due to the spirit fish's special bloodline, the heaven's punishment that she attracted was extremely terrifying. The terrifying heaven's punishment destroyed everything and bombarded her for an entire day and night without any signs of subsiding. Just as Yi Chunfeng and the others were sweating for the spirit fish, the second mysterious bloodline in the spirit fish's body awakened. It turned into a terrifying bloodline shadow that shook the void. It was even more powerful than Yi Chunfeng, and even more terrifying as it tore apart the heaven's punishment. Goo, what a terrifying shadow! Fu Qingshan gulped and said, Chunfeng, can you tell what bloodline the second bloodline in the spirit fish's body is? I can't tell, but the spirit fish repeatedly attracted heaven's punishment. It is extremely likely that it is related to the second bloodline in her body. Yi Chunfeng shook his head and said as he watched the heavenly punishment dissipate into the world, the bloodline shadow that gave him a great shock. He was also very curious about the second bloodline in the spirit fish's body. He wanted to know what kind of bloodline it was that it could surpass his divine demon bloodline. After surviving the heaven's punishment, the spirit fish successfully broke through to the level 2 combat beast emperor realm. Her physical strength increased along with the increase in her realm, reaching 60 million gene of strength. After refining the great Tao pill, although the King of Massacre did not break through to the level 4 combat beast emperor realm, he was only a step away from breaking through. Alright, after this period of cultivation, everyone's strength has increased by quite a bit. Let's try attacking the Imperial Tomb door again. Yi Chunfeng summoned the 9-dragon jade annulus and suggested. Alright. The King of Massacre and the other 2 nodded and raised their strength to the peak, preparing to launch a fatal attack at any time. After devouring a large amount of heavenly beast blood essences, the space-swallowing worm continued to evolve. Once again, it tore a big hole in the restriction of the Xingluo Imperial Tomb door. Following which, Yi Chunfeng and the other 3 unleashed their strongest attacks at the Black Tomb door, wanting to forcefully break it open. Boom! 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 The 4 powerful attacks blended together and instantly tore the space apart. With the power to kill, they bombarded the Black Tomb door, causing a shocking change in heaven and earth. However, the result this time still disappointed Yi Chunfeng. The impregnable Black Tomb door easily blocked the strongest attacks of Yi Chunfeng and the other 3 without showing any signs of breaking. In desperation, Yi Chunfeng and the other 3 could only give up. After a day of recuperation, Yi Chunfeng recovered his depleted soul power and teleported Ling Yu and the other 2 back to the universe mirror. Then, he flew out of the Xingluo Imperial Tomb alone. When he used his memory to leave the restricted space and return to the lush mountain range, His powerful soul spirit detected the aura of the true demon tribe and the experts from Xingluo Heaven City who were hiding in the dark. Yi Chunfeng was never merciful to his enemies. He used the sword steps and sped past. When he was more than 1,000 meters away, the true demon tribe and Xingluo Heaven City experts, who were hiding in the dark and wanted to inform him, were all killed by the extremely sharp sword Dao pattern. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record your reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 819. Phew, I've finally arrived at the Blackwind grassland. The Xingluo continent was much larger than Yi Chunfeng had imagined. He followed the map and flew for nearly 20 days before arriving at a grassland covered in black weeds that danced in the wind. The saint city of the Xingluo continent, the Xingluo Heavenly City, was floating in the center of the Blackwind grassland that stretched as far as the eye could see. After arriving at the Blackwind grassland, Yi Chunfeng immediately controlled the illusion Dao intent to change his appearance. He suppressed his strength to the level of a grade 1 defiant beast king and walked into the depths of the Blackwind grassland. As he walked, the sky gradually darkened. Yi Chunfeng found a relatively sheltered hill in the Blackwind grassland to rest. He was in a good mood as he hunted a deer and barbecued it. Soon, a mouth-watering aroma of meat drifted in the dark night sky. Yi Chunfeng was very experienced and had left a lot of feces of powerful heavenly beasts around the hill, so the demonic beasts that foraged for food at night didn't dare to come close. Yi Chunfeng used a sharp dagger to cut off a piece of roasted venison. Then, he leaned against a hard rock and drank wine as he ate the venison. He looked very relaxed. Just as Yi Chunfeng was enjoying this rare moment of peace, his powerful soul sensed 3 extraordinary auras approaching him. He couldn't help but furrow his brows. Through the bonfire that was burning brighter and brighter, Yi Chunfeng saw a man and 2 women with the strength of a grade 2 defiant beast king slowly walking towards him. Sorry to disturb you, friend. The Blackwind grassland is too dangerous at night. I wonder if we can stay here for a night? A tall and straight man with long black hair casually draped over his shoulders and a black spear on his back glanced at the ordinary-looking Yi Chunfeng, who was sitting beside the bonfire, eating meat and drinking wine. Then, he revealed a friendly smile and said, "That's right. Sit." Yi Chunfeng looked at the man with the spear on his back, and then looked at the 2 young girls with pretty good looks and graceful figures. Under the illumination of the bonfire, their pretty faces were rosy. He nodded and said this. "Many thanks." The man with the spear on his back revealed a faint smile. Then, he sat beside the bonfire with the 2 beautiful women. "I can't finish this flower, dear. If you guys are hungry, you can eat it," Yi Chunfeng said lightly. "Haha, then I won't hold back." The spear-wielding man had a forthright personality. He laughed loudly and took out a dagger. He cut off a large piece of greasy venison and stuffed it into his mouth. He was not afraid that Yi Chunfeng would poison them and plot against them. However, the 2 beautiful women did not eat the venison. Instead, they quietly adjusted their breathing and recovered their strength by the bonfire. "Your Excellency is also preparing to go to Xingluo Heavenly City to gain experience, right?" The spear-wielding man took out a pot of fine wine from his qiankuan bag. He raised his head and took a big gulp as he asked. "That's right, I'm heading to Xingluo Sky City." Yi Chunfeng nodded. "Haha, I guessed it right away." The spear-wielding man invited straightforwardly. "I wonder if Your Excellency is interested in going to Xingluo Sky City with us. This way we can look after each other when we cross the Black Wolf Prairie." "Sure." Yi Chunfeng nodded and said, "Big brother, why do we want to team up with him?" Hearing the conversation between the 2, a young woman in white martial arts suit with a rosy face opened her eyes slightly. She looked at Yi Chunfeng, who had an ordinary face and was only a level 1 beast king. She transmitted her voice in confusion. Miaoyu, the Black Wolf Prairie is scarier than you think. It's not easy to cross the Black Wolf Prairie to reach Xingluo Sky City. However, I don't think he's an evil person. That's why I want to rope him in. After all, one more person means one more strength. The spear-wielding man transmitted his voice. Alright, big brother. Since you've decided, I won't say anything more. However, if this person is in danger, I won't help him. After saying that, the white-clad woman closed her eyes again, adjusting her breathing to recover as she waited for dawn. The spear-wielding man looked at the white-clad woman who had such high standards, shaking his head helplessly. As he ate, he continued chatting with Yi Chunfeng. As they chatted, Yi Chunfeng found out about the identities of the three of them. They were from the famous Falling Star Pavilion, a level 6 faction. The spear-wielding man was called Xing Yuanfeng, the cold and arrogant woman was called Xing Miaoyu, and the silent woman was called Xing Manyu. Very quickly, the night passed. Due to Yi Chunfeng scattering the high-level heavenly beast excrement earlier, they did not meet with any attacks or danger, and passed the night peacefully. When the first rays of the morning sun shone over the entire Black Wind Prairie, the four of them condensed light red soul wings and flew towards the depths of the Black Wind Prairie. Corpses, so many corpses. As they flew, Yi Chunfeng found many human corpses in the Black Wind Prairie, and all of them had the same characteristic. Their flesh and blood had been eaten clean by demonic beasts. These corpses were left behind by the overlord of the Black Wind Prairie, the Black Wind Wolf. Although a single Black Wind Wolf is not scary, rumor has it that there are millions of them in the Black Wind Prairie. Once surrounded, even a level 4 defiant beast king would have to avoid them. Xing Yuanfeng slowly explained when he saw Yi Chunfeng continuously sweeping his gaze over the corpses scattered in the underbrush. Don't tell me you haven't even heard of the Black Wind Wolf. Looking at the silent Yi Chunfeng, Xing Miaoyu's eyes widened, looking at him as if he was a monster. Indeed, this is the first time I've heard of it. As Yi Chunfeng had not considered the threat of the Black Wind Prairie, he had not heard of the Black Wind Prairie, much less heard of the Black Wind Wolf. You idiot, you came to the Black Wind Prairie to die, Xing Miaoyu said with a venomous tongue. As for the frosty Xing Manyu, she glanced at Yi Chunfeng without a trace of emotion. She still didn't say anything. Miaoyu, don't talk nonsense. Since Brother Feng Chen dares to come to the Black Wind Prairie, he naturally has something to rely on. Xing Yuanfeng glared at Xing Miaoyu and warned loudly. Yes, I do have a means to protect myself. Yi Chunfeng nodded and said. I hope so. Xing Miaoyu curled her lips and whispered, otherwise, with a burden, we will be in even more danger. Hearing Xing Miaoyu's whisper, Yi Chunfeng was not angry. With a different outlook, Yi Chunfeng's tolerance had also increased. Not to mention, they were not people of the same world. Because of the previous unpleasantness, the four became even more silent. Flying and flying, Yi Chunfeng's eyes shot out a ray of light as he looked at the rolling hills in the distance, and frowned slightly. Wait, I feel danger ahead. Yi Chunfeng suddenly said. Humph, danger? How come I don't feel it? Xing Miaoyu said in a somewhat unruly manner, Sister, let's ignore this boring person. Saying so, the two beautiful sisters continued to fly towards the rolling hills in the distance. Xing Yuanfeng flew to Yi Chunfeng's side and cautiously asked, Brother Fengchen, do you really feel danger? Maybe I feel wrong. Yi Chunfeng did not want to expose himself too much and did not want to explain too much. He said lightly and continued to fly with the two sisters. But not long after flying, ear-piercing and ferocious wolf howls suddenly sounded in the rolling hills. In the next moment, more than 1,000 calf-sized black wind wolves covered in thick wolf fur and with a pair of wind wings flew out of the rolling hills. Seeing more than 1,000 black wind wolves rapidly flying over, Xing Yuanfeng and the other two had goosebumps all over their body, and their faces were ashen. Mobile reading home, book address, For the convenience of your next reading, you can click the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. Next time you open the bookshelf, you will see it. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 820. Black Wind Wolves, more than 1,000 black wind wolves. Seeing the terrifying howls of the black wind wolves getting closer and closer, Xing Miaoyu and Xing Yufeng were so scared that their bodies trembled, and they turned to flee. Quickly hide in the canopy of that ancient tree. I have a way to intimidate the black wind wolves. Yi Chunfeng was intentionally hiding his power, not using any of his methods to kill the black wind wolf. Instead, he pointed to an ancient tree not far away, several dozen meters tall, with thick foliage, and shouted out loudly, "Bro Fengchen, you really have a way to intimidate the black wind wolves." The black wind wolves were extremely fast, and if they were caught by them, it would be disastrous. Xing Yuanfeng asked loudly in panic. If you believe me, then follow me. If you don't, then think of a way to break out." After saying that, Yi Chunfeng did not waste any more words, and with a quick flap of his soul wings, he flew towards the tall ancient tree in a gust of wind. As he neared, he took out a large amount of high-level heavenly beast excrement, scattering it around the tree. "Let's go, let's follow." Xing Yuanfeng gritted his teeth and said loudly. The reason why he chose to believe Yi Chunfeng was because he remembered Yi Chunfeng's warning, and felt that Yi Chunfeng was not simple. "Big bro, do you really believe that he has a way to intimidate the black wind wolves? Once we are trapped in that ancient tree, we will definitely die." Xing Miaoyu did not believe Yi Chunfeng at all, and she said seriously, "Miaoyu, do you think the three of us can use our speed to escape from the black wind wolves?" Xing Yuanfeng looked at the approaching black wind wolves and asked loudly, This, enough nonsense, all of you follow me, let's make a bet." As he said that, Xing Yuanfeng led the two girls into the canopy of the ancient tree, their faces ashen and pale with fright. "Bro Fengchen, what are you preparing to do to intimidate the black wind wolves?" Xing Yuanfeng asked nervously. Although he had no choice but to trust Yi Chunfeng, he was even more clear that once Yi Chunfeng failed to intimidate the black wind wolves, they would undoubtedly be torn to shreds and devoured by the savage pack of black wind wolves. "Do you see the things scattered around the ancient tree? That is my treasure to intimidate the black wind wolves." Yi Chunfeng pointed at the piles of heavenly beast excrement scattered around the ancient tree, his expression calm as he said, "Sh*T. Your treasure that intimidates the black wind wolves is a pile of Sh*T. Looking at the treasures Yi Chunfeng pointed out, Xing Yuanfeng and the others felt their hearts fall into the abyss. They felt a chill from head to toe as they completely fell into despair. If it wasn't for the fact that the black wind wolves had surrounded them and the two girls didn't dare to make a sound, she would have already gone mad and strangled Yi Chunfeng to death. "Don't worry. That shit is enough to intimidate the black wind wolves. Just wait patiently." Yi Chunfeng ignored Xing Miaoyu and Xing Manyu's angry eyes and slowly said, Indeed, as Yi Chunfeng had predicted, the thousands of black wind wolves were so frightened by the smell of the heavenly beast excrement that they did not dare to approach, only letting out low howls of fear. This. Brother Fengchen, what kind of feces did you use to scare off the black wind wolves? Xing Yuanfeng and the other two revealed an expression of disbelief when they saw that the terrifying pack of black wind wolves was really as Yi Chunfeng had said. They were intimidated by the piles of feces of different sizes and did not dare to approach. "That is the excrement of some high-level heavenly beasts," Yi Chunfeng explained. "I see." Xing Yuanfeng let out a long sigh of relief and revealed a trace of joy. "I was wondering why you dared to charge into the Black Wind Prairie alone. Turns out that you were carrying this shit with you." Yi Chunfeng, "Big brother, it's too early for you to be happy. We're still in danger. If those black wind wolves don't leave, they'll still attack us when the smell of their feces dissipates." Xing Manyu, who was even prettier than Xing Miaoyu and had fair skin, spoke up. Don't worry, I still have a lot of shit. I'm not afraid that I won't be able to scare them away, Yi Chunfeng said lightly. Xing Miaoyu and the other two looked at each other and were speechless. Time passed minute by minute in extreme torment. Yi Chunfeng was calm and not worried at all. However, Xing Miaoyu and the other two had a feeling of time passing like years, as if they were pacing back and forth on the edge of a cliff. Just when Xing Miaoyu and the other two discovered that the black wind wolves had no intention of leaving, two black shadows suddenly appeared on the horizon. Awoo! Sensing the sudden appearance of the human aura, the ferocious and violent black wind wolves let out an angry howl. They suddenly turned around and launched a tide-like attack at the two human experts who approached them without permission. Someone is coming. Seeing the pack of black wind wolves suddenly rioting, the restless Xing Miaoyu and the other two looked through the gaps of the lush leaves and saw two black-clothed men holding divine weapons moving freely in the pack of black wind wolves, crazily slaughtering them. They revealed expressions of deep, pleasant surprise. So strong, those two are so strong. Those are real experts. The terrifying black wind wolves are actually no threat to them. Big brother, second sister, we're saved. Xing Miaoyu's eyes were shining as she looked at the two black-clothed men who were showing off their invincible might. Her eyes couldn't help but emit a look of worship and excitement. Our luck is really good. With their strength, it won't be long before they can kill all the black wind wolves. Xing Yuanfeng let out a long sigh of relief. His suspended heart finally settled down. Yama tactics, people from the dark Azura Hall. How powerful was Yi Chunfeng's soul? When the two black-clothed men wantonly slaughtered the black wind wolves, he felt that they were actually using the Yama tactic. His eyes couldn't help but reveal a trace of cold killing intent. The two dark Azura Hall experts killed faster and faster. Soon, more than 1,000 black wind wolves were slaughtered by the two of them. A large number of broken wolf corpses were scattered on the ground. The thick blood gathered into a small stream that slowly flowed on the black wind prairie. Big brother, let's go out and thank them. Thank them for saving our lives. Xing Miaoyu, who had survived the disaster, looked at the two dark Azura Hall experts whose invincible might shook the heavens, and said eagerly. She had the intention to curry favor with them. Don't go out, I'm afraid they will do you harm. Yi Chunfeng knew that the dark Azura Hall was notorious for their vicious methods. Once they saw Xing Miaoyu and Xing Manyu's beautiful face and graceful body, it was very likely that something would happen. Harm? Xing Miaoyu mocked without holding back. I think you're just jealous of their strength. At least they're not like you, roaming the world with a few piles of shit. After saying that, the proud Xing Miaoyu jumped down from the ancient tree crown. Thank you too for saving our lives. Xing Miaoyu lightly stood on the huge body of a black wind wolf and called out to the two dark Azura Hall experts who were about to leave, softly thanking them. While thanking them, Xing Yuanfeng and Xing Manyu also jumped down from the ancient tree crown to thank them. And looking at the slender bodies of the two girls, their milk-like skin, their slightly perky curves, and their beautiful and cold faces, the eyes of the two dark Azura Hall experts immediately lit up. You two really want to thank us? A dark Azura Hall expert, whose clothes were stained with faint bloodstains, had a square face and eyes sunken into his cheeks, giving off a ferocious feeling. He looked at the sexy bodies of Xing Miaoyu and the other girl with a burning gaze and asked with malicious intentions. My falling star pavilion has some influence in Xingluo Sky City. When we reach Xingluo Sky City, my falling star pavilion experts will definitely give you a big gift to thank you two for your kindness. Meeting the burning gaze of the two, Xing Yuanfeng's expression changed. He felt a trace of unease and hurriedly said, No need to go through so much trouble. The other slightly plump dark Azura Hall expert revealed a trace of a cold smile and said, I think these two girls are not bad. They suit my taste very well. Why don't we use them as gift? After saying that, The Dark Azura Hall expert exploded with powerful soul power and condensed a soul power hand to grab the two girls who were pale with fright. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. The next time you open the bookshelf, you will see it. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 821. Careful! Xing Yuanfeng roared. The spear on his back rose into the air under the control of his mind, spinning in the air as it pierced towards the soul power hand that was tearing the air apart. Xing Yuanfeng's spear had reached perfection in both grace and strength. Its attack power had also soared. Qi. The soul power hand that the Dark Azura Hall expert had condensed was pierced through by his spear, saving the pale-faced Xing Miaoyu and her sister. I didn't think that you weren't trash. The chubby man revealed a mocking smile. Rolling soul power once again gushed out of his body, turning into a sharp soul sword that slashed towards Xing Yuanfeng. Pooh! Xing Yuanfeng, who was defending with all his strength, was sent flying by the terrifying soul sword. A large amount of blood sprayed out from his mouth as he heavily fell to the ground. Please be magnanimous and let my two sisters go. I guarantee that when we reach Xingluo Sky City, my falling star pavilion will definitely reward you. Seeing the chubby man's strength, Xing Yuanfeng ignored his injuries and climbed up from the ground. He stood in front of the panicking Xing Miaoyu and her sister, using the falling star pavilion to pressure them. He regretted that he didn't listen to Yi Chenfeng's words, causing him to be in danger. What is the falling star pavilion? The chubby man snorted and arrogantly warned, It's their fortune that us two brothers have taken a fancy to them. If you know what's good for you, hurry up and scram. Otherwise, don't blame me for scraping you alive. Big brother, what should we do? At this time, Xing Miaoyu no longer had an unruly expression. She looked at the fiendish Dark Azura Hall expert in horror, her heart filled with panic. Although Xing Manyu didn't say anything, her trembling body still betrayed her terrified heart. She didn't dare to think about her fate. Sigh, I've already told you that they aren't good people, but you didn't listen. Now you believe me. After hesitating for a while, Yi Chenfeng still couldn't bear to see Xing Miaoyu and her sister being ruined. He jumped down from the lush treetop and sighed softly. Feng Chen, you, just as Xing Yuanfeng and the other two were out of their wits and lost their heads out of fear, they discovered that Yi Chenfeng had jumped down from the treetop, ignoring the threat of the Dark Azura Hall experts and loudly criticizing them. All of them were dumbfounded. Haha, I didn't expect that there would be a hothead hiding here. Interesting, very interesting. The chubby man laughed heartily. The soul power gushing out of his body once again condensed, transforming into a large hand of soul power. He wanted to grab Yi Chenfeng, who had provoked them, to death and intimidate Yuanfeng and the other two. Be careful, dodge. When Xing Yuanfeng saw that Yi Chenfeng was in danger, he immediately shouted. However, Yi Chenfeng was as steady as Mount Tai as he stood in place. He gently extended a finger and pointed at the giant hand of soul power descending from the sky. Qi. When Yi Chenfeng's finger came into contact with the soul power hand, the hand trembled violently and shattered like glass. Such a strange scene shocked everyone present. How is this possible? How can he have such strength? A kind of shock and excitement appeared on the beautiful faces of Xing Miaoyu and Xing Yuanfeng. Their eyes were wide open and their mouths were agape. They couldn't believe what was happening in front of them. Interesting, very interesting. I didn't expect that you weren't a hothead. The two Dark Azura Hall experts frowned slightly and revealed cruel smiles. Two terrifying soul beasts appeared on their bodies and roared at Yi Chenfeng. Brother Feng Chen, let's deal with them together. Xing Yuanfeng, who had regained his senses, appeared beside Yi Chenfeng with a spear in hand and shouted loudly. Just two pieces of trash, no need to go through so much trouble, Yi Chenfeng said indifferently. He didn't put them in his eyes at all. What a big tone! The chubby man roared angrily. When I capture you later, I will let you know my methods. I will make you regret living in this world. As he spoke, the chubby man fused with his soul beast. He held a sharp autumn water sky sword in his hand and stabbed at Yi Chunfeng amidst the dense sword shadows. You don't deserve to use a sword in front of me, Yi Chunfeng said contemptuously. He stretched out a finger again. The ancient heavenly thunder broke through his finger, penetrated the dense sword shadows, and hit the sharp tip of the sky sword. Crack! A crisp, shattering sound rang out as the extremely destructive extreme ancient heavenly lightning shattered the autumn water sky sword, turning it into dust that filled the air. In the next moment, the ancient heavenly thunder turned into a thunder net under Yi Chunfeng's control. It directly covered the chubby man, whose expression changed greatly. Pulled him down from the air, and smashed a big hole in the ground. Heavenly thunder, you actually subdued a type of heavenly thunder with your cultivation level. Feeling the destructive power of the ancient heavenly thunder, the square-faced man's eyes widened in shock. The way he looked at Yi Chunfeng changed greatly. Okay. We admit defeat this time. Let him go and we will leave immediately. We will not trouble you again. The threat of the ancient heavenly thunder was too great. The square-faced man did not dare to take the risk and said in a low voice. Hearing the square-faced man's words, Xing Miaoyu and the other two heaved a sigh of relief. However, Yi Chunfeng's next words made them nervous again. What if I don't let him go? Yi Chunfeng asked with a faint smile. Kid, don't think that you are invincible just because you subdued a type of heavenly thunder. If you provoke the Sunluo Temple, I will make sure you die without a burial place. The chubby man who was trapped in the thunder net and could not move threatened loudly. Sunluo Temple, you are experts from the Sunluo Temple. Xing Yuanfeng and the other two panicked after knowing their identities. Although the falling star pavilion was powerful, it was like heaven and earth compared to the Sunluo Temple. It could be said that the Sunluo Temple could destroy the falling star pavilion as easily as blowing off dust. Can we go now? The square-faced man saw Xing Yuanfeng's frightened expression and a fierce glint flashed in his eyes as he arrogantly asked. No. Yi Chunfeng coldly said. The ancient heavenly thunder suddenly erupted with a frightening power and crazily attacked the chubby man trapped in the thunder net. In less than 5 breaths, the chubby man's body was destroyed by the ancient heavenly thunder and died on the spot. You actually killed Sun Fei. The square-faced man didn't expect Yi Chunfeng to be so bold as to actually kill the chubby man. His body trembled with anger as a thick murderous intent shot out from his eyes. Meanwhile, the three were scared silly by the scene before them. Cold sweat poured down their foreheads while their hearts were filled with fear. Killing a beast king from the Sunluo Temple was something they didn't dare to think about. However, what they didn't know was that even if the Dark Azura Hall Master Shintu was here, Yi Chunfeng would still dare to kill him. Furthermore, with Yi Chunfeng's current strength, with the help of the 9-Dragon Jade Annulus or the True Dragon Transformation, he would definitely be able to kill Shintu. So what? Yi Chunfeng revealed a cold smile. Not only do I want to kill him, but I also want to kill you. With that, Yi Chunfeng controlled the ancient heavenly thunder towards the square-faced man, wanting to kill him. Blood escape. After seeing the power of the thunder, the square-faced man didn't hesitate to use the blood escape to escape. However, the moment he used blood escape, a powerful force pressed down on his body, causing his body to tremble slightly and affecting his speed of escape. The next second, the ancient heavenly thunder slammed into his body like a tidal wave and broke through his defenses. His body exploded into a bloody mist in the air as his soul was severed. Mobile reading website, book address. In order to make it easier for you to read it next time, you can click the Save button at the bottom to record your reading. You will see it the next time you open your bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 822. Dead, they're all dead. Witnessing Yi Qinfeng killing 2 experts from Sun Luo Hall, Xing Yuanfeng and the other 2's minds went blank. They were all dumbfounded. Brother Fengqin, they're from Sun Luo Hall. You killed them, aren't you afraid of Sun Luo Hall's revenge? Xing Yuanfeng asked in panic. It could be said that provoking Sun Luo Hall on Xingluo continent was no different from provoking the god of death. They were killed by black wind wolves. What does that have to do with me? Yi Qinfeng said with a faint smile as he looked at Xing Yuanfeng and the other 2 who were trying their best to suppress the fear in their hearts. After speaking, Yi Qinfeng collected the 2's belongings, condensed his soul wings, and flew towards the depths of the black wind prairie. Hey, wait for us! Seeing Yi Qinfeng leave as soon as he said so, Xing Miaoyu and the other 2 quickly condensed their soul wings and followed him closely, afraid that they would lose him. After flying for more than 6 hours in the black wind prairie, the sky gradually darkened. Gusts of fierce wind surged from the depths of the black wind prairie, sweeping through the heavens and earth. When the sky turned dark, Yi Qinfeng's powerful soul sensed a continuous stretch of hills in the black wind prairie. He immediately flew over with Xing Yuanfeng and the other 2 to take shelter from the wind for the night. Brother Fengqin, thank you for today. Without you, the 3 of us would have been killed. Xing Yuanfeng looked at Yi Qinfeng, who was full of mystery and had subdued the extreme ancient heavenly lightning, with reverence and gratitude from the bottom of his heart. It's nothing. You don't have to worry too much about it. Yi Qinfeng, who was resting with his eyes closed, said. Feng, big brother Fengqin, today I didn't recognize Mount Tai and offended you. Please don't lower yourself to my level and forgive my rudeness. Under Xing Yuanfeng's strict gaze, Xing Miaoyu, whose cheeks were slightly red, bit her lips and softly apologized. Her attitude was completely different from during the day. It's okay, I didn't take it to heart, Yi Qinfeng said indifferently. Okay, I'm going to adjust my breathing. You guys should rest too. After saying that, Yi Qinfeng got rid of all distracting thoughts and quickly entered a state of cultivation. Seeing Yi Qinfeng meditating with his eyes closed, Xing Yuanfeng and the other 2 looked at each other and didn't dare to disturb him. They sat cross-legged around Yi Qinfeng, recovering while waiting for dawn. The night grew darker and darker. The pitch-black wind prairie became more and more terrifying. Ferocious wolf howls continuously resounded in the black wind prairie. However, after Yi Qinfeng had dropped the piles of heavenly beast excrement, the overlord of the black wind grasslands, the black wind wolves, did not dare to approach them. At dawn, Yi Qinfeng woke up from his meditation. He continued to fly towards the depths of the black wind prairie with Xing Yuanfeng and the others. They slowly approached Xingluo Sky City in the center of the black wind prairie. As they got closer and closer to Xingluo Sky City, they encountered many geniuses along the way. Some of them even caught Yi Qinfeng's attention. As they flew, a series of deafening explosions rang in their ears, and the air currents became fierce. 2 geniuses wielding divine weapons, arrogant and unruly, were fighting fiercely in the air. Terrifying attacks swept out in all directions, causing the air to vibrate violently, forming a large number of whirlwinds. Ignore them, let's go through. Although the fight between the 2 geniuses was intense and exciting, it didn't attract Yi Qinfeng's interest. He led Xing Yuanfeng and the others, wanting to pass through and continue flying towards Xingluo Sky City. Damn it, the 4 of you are really bold. Can't you see that we are fighting? How dare you come near? Get lost. A 5th-level defiant beast king wearing a black martial robe swept his gaze over Yi Qinfeng's group of 4 and roared in warning. His long black hair fluttered wildly in the wind, and he held a halberd in his hand. He had an extraordinary aura, and was a 5th-level defiant beast king. Hearing the black-clothed man's warning and feeling his domineering aura, Xing Yuanfeng and the others' expressions changed slightly. They slowed down their flying speed, but Yi Chunfeng seemed to have not heard them and continued flying forward. "Damn it, since you want to die, I will fulfill your wish." Seeing Yi Chunfeng ignoring his warning and continuing to approach, the black-clothed man flew into a rage. He abandoned his opponent and slashed with his halberd, wanting to split Yi Chunfeng in half. When the murderous black-robed man closed in on Yi Chunfeng, thunderous sounds rang out from Yi Chunfeng's body. He compressed the extremely destructive ancient heavenly thunder to its limit and blasted it towards the black-robed man. Rumble! When the halberd struck the ancient heavenly thunder, earth-shattering thunder rang out. The terrifying heavenly thunder was like an erupting volcano, fiercely bombarding the black-clothed man's body, sending him flying and landing heavily on the ground. A large amount of blood gushed out from his strong body. Heavenly thunder! Seeing the extreme ancient heavenly lightning released by Yi Chunfeng, the handsome man in white, who was a level 5 defiant beast king, revealed a look of shock. He quickly retreated in fear, not daring to get close to Yi Chunfeng. "Let's go." After using the ancient heavenly thunder to heavily injure the black-clothed man, Yi Chunfeng did not linger. He quickly flew away with the shocked Xing Yuanfeng and the others. When it was close to evening, Yi Chunfeng and the others finally reached the center of the Blackwind Prairie. They saw an ancient city in the distance. In the sky above this ancient city there was a huge piece of land. On this land there was a beautiful city in the sky. It was like a mirage, and it was shrouded in clouds and mist. Countless waterfalls flowed down from the edge of Xingluo Sky City. It was like the Milky Way falling from the 9 heavens, splashing onto the Blackwind Prairie, forming several surging rivers that flowed through the Blackwind Prairie. At the 4 corners of Xingluo Sky City, there were 4 paths to the sky that passed through the clouds and were shrouded in restrictions. Many blurry figures were climbing up the paths with all their might. Although Yi Chunfeng had seen many paradises and majestic ancient cities, when he saw Xingluo Sky City in the distance, he was still shocked. He couldn't help but sigh in amazement. "Big Brother Feng, do you have a Xingluo token?" Seeing Yi Chunfeng staring at Star All Heaven City without saying anything for a long time, Xing Manyu, who had a graceful figure and a charming figure, walked over to his side and asked softly. "No." Yi Chunfeng shook his head and said, "Xingluo Sky City is shrouded in an ancient restriction. Ordinary people can't fly in directly. So, there are 2 ways to enter Xingluo Sky City. One is to have a Xingluo token and enter Xingluo Sky City through the teleportation formation in the ancient city. The other way is to climb the path to heaven to enter Xingluo Sky City. However, although climbing the path to heaven is a little troublesome, there are still many benefits for climbing it for the first time. When you climb to a certain level, not only will you be baptized by lightning, you will also be baptized by the Xingluo celestial phenomenon. There is also a chance to leave your name on the Xingluo celestial wall. So, the genius disciples who come to Xingluo Sky City for the first time will climb the path to heaven to challenge themselves," Xing Manyu explained in a pleasant voice. "Thank you for telling me." Yi Chunfeng smiled and looked at Xing Manyu's cold face. "Let's go. We will rest in the ancient city and climb the path to heaven early tomorrow morning." After saying that, Yi Chunfeng quickly flapped his soul wings and flew towards the ancient city below Xingluo Sky City. Remember the website. Sanwu Chinese Network. Chapter 823. Early in the morning, a ray of gentle sunlight pierced through the pitch-black night sky, crossing the boundless sea of clouds and sprinkling down on the entire world, awakening the ancient city with a long history. Early in the morning, after a night's rest, Yi Chunfeng's group of 4 appeared under the stairway to heaven that was shrouded in restrictions. They were preparing to climb the ancient stairway to heaven that had experienced the vicissitudes of life. "Big Brother, it is that brat. He is the one who used the heavenly lightning to injure me." Suddenly, a discordant voice echoed. The black-robed man who was severely injured by Yi Chunfeng using the ancient heavenly lightning appeared at the bottom of the stairway to heaven and glared at Yi Chunfeng. "Which faction are you from? Why did you injure my younger brother for no reason?" A tall and sturdy man covered in thick black hair coldly questioned Yi Chunfeng. He was a level 6 reverse beast king and gave off a ferocious aura. "Let's go. Let's ascend the stairway to heaven." Yi Chunfeng ignored the burly man's question and entered the stairway to heaven with a flash. He began to climb the ancient stairway to heaven that was getting increasingly intense. "Damn it, you are courting death." When he saw Yi Chunfeng ignoring him, the burly man's face instantly turned gloomy. He clenched his fists so tightly that they were making cracking sounds. His eyes were filled with dense killing intent. "Let's go. Let's follow them. Once we enter Xingluo Heaven City, we will deal with them." The burly man spoke with a fiendish expression. He followed closely behind Yi Chunfeng's group of 4 and began to climb the stairway to heaven. They were constantly plotting their revenge against Yi Chunfeng in their hearts. As they climbed higher, the spatial pressure above the stairway to heaven was getting increasingly intense. However, this pressure didn't affect Yi Chunfeng at all. "The 3 of you, let's part ways here. Take care." The speed at which Xing Yuanfeng and the other 2 climbed the path to heaven was too slow. Yi Chunfeng didn't wait for them. He left behind a sentence and increased his climbing speed. When he was climbing, he controlled the illusion Dao pattern to change his appearance again. In the dangerous Xingluo Heaven City, Yi Chunfeng had no choice but to be careful. Soon enough, Yi Chunfeng, who was ignoring the pressure of the restrictions, started to climb faster and faster. Afterimages appeared as he sped up the stairway to heaven. His astonishing speed, Xing Yuanfeng and the other 2 were petrified. The burly man and the burly man who wanted to take revenge on Jiang Chen. In less than half an incense stick's worth of time, the astonishingly fast Yi Chunfeng had climbed several tens of thousands of meters. He was now in the middle of the restriction cloud sea. Thunder roared in the restriction cloud sea. When Yi Chunfeng sensed that the heavenly lightning in the sea of clouds was just ordinary heavenly lightning and not Dao intent heavenly lightning, he revealed a trace of disappointment. He did not slow down and continued to climb faster. Lightning, lightning, lightning of Yi Chunfeng's of lightning bolts of lightning, lightning, lightning of thunder. Yi of lightning, 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 lightning to Yi Xingluo. Lightning of his body. Divine transformation of 9 transformations, devour. After being attacked by a large amount of heaven's thunder, Yi Chunfeng immediately circulated the divine transformation of 9 transformations. He refined the heaven's thunder into his Yongquan acupoint and transformed the spirit pearl in his Yongquan acupoint. There is someone ahead. Just as Yi Chunfeng was climbing and refining the heaven's thunder, his powerful soul spirit sensed an extraordinary aura presence in the space ahead. He sensed that this powerful aura presence was able to tear apart the heaven's thunder with every step. This terrifying attack had completely exceeded the limits of the reverse beast king realm. I didn't expect to encounter a prodigy on the stairway to heaven. Yi Chunfeng's mouth curved up slightly. He didn't slow down his climbing speed and slowly closed the distance between him and the prodigy ahead. When he sensed that Yi Chunfeng was getting closer and closer, the man in luxurious robes who was tearing apart the heaven's thunder revealed a bewildered expression. When he looked down at the stairs behind him, he got a shock. This was because he discovered that Yi Chunfeng, who was chasing after him, wasn't tearing apart the heaven's thunder, but devouring it. Just as he was secretly shocked, Yi Chunfeng, who was extremely fast and had turned into an afterimage, flashed before his eyes and soon disappeared in the endless heaven's thunder attacks. Who was that? How could he have such an astonishing speed? The man in luxurious robes was shocked. His eyes revealed a strong fighting spirit as he constantly increased his strength. He was like a divine sword that could tear apart the sky as he chased after Yi Chunfeng closely. There is something strange about the restriction ahead. Yi Chunfeng rushed for 30 minutes and gradually approached the top of the stairway to heaven. He saw that above his head, there was a group of illusory restrictions. Could this be the Xingluo celestial phenomenon that can temper spirit beasts? He recalled what Xing Manyu had told him about the unique Xingluo celestial city restriction on the stairway to heaven. It had the miraculous ability to temper spirit beasts. When one was inside and summoned their spirit beasts, they would be baptized by the celestial phenomenon. The longer the baptism, the purer the spirit beast would be. I hope this Xingluo celestial phenomenon won't disappoint me. There was a flash of light under Yi Chunfeng's feet as 100 swords shot out, tearing apart the layers of heaven's thunder and restrictions. He crossed more than 10 flights of stairs and directly rushed into the Xingluo celestial phenomenon. Sea of Fire. After rushing into the Xingluo celestial city, Yi Chunfeng found himself in a blazing sea of fire. The scorching flames constantly burned his body, wanting to burn him to ashes. However, how strong was Yi Chunfeng's physical body? The sea of fire formed by the Xingluo celestial phenomenon posed no threat to him. He operated the divine 9 transformations to refine the power of fire into his Yongquan acupoint. At the same time, he summoned the Blood Dragon Emperor and appeared in the blazing sea of fire. The Blood Dragon Emperor had undergone 2 transformations, and the soul force it contained was extremely terrifying. When it violently tumbled in the sea of fire, the terrifying sea of fire simply couldn't withstand the soul force released by the Blood Dragon Emperor, and cracks began to appear. In less than 10 breaths of time, the sea of fire was torn apart by the Blood Dragon Emperor, but the terrifying Blood Dragon Emperor didn't receive any tempering. Sigh, it seems that the Blood Dragon Emperor is too strong. This Xingluo celestial phenomenon doesn't help it at all. Yi Chunfeng sighed softly and recalled the Blood Dragon Emperor. His figure flashed as he passed through the sea of fire and entered a world of ice and snow. Waves of bone-chilling cold swept towards him. The power of the ice and snow phenomenon was clearly stronger than the sea of fire, but it still posed no threat to Yi Chunfeng. Soon, the ice and snow phenomenon was torn apart by Yi Chunfeng and he entered the lightning lake. But whether it was the lightning lake phenomenon, the desert phenomenon, or the wood tribulation phenomenon, all of them were torn apart by Yi Chunfeng's sword steps. Sigh, this Xingluo celestial phenomenon restriction is too weak. In less than 20 breaths of time, Yi Chunfeng tore apart the 5 Xingluo celestial phenomena and rushed towards the peak of the path to heaven. The scene of Yi Chunfeng tearing apart the Xingluo celestial phenomena was seen by the man in the luxurious robe, who was following closely behind. Soon, Yi Chunfeng rushed all the way to the end of the path to heaven at a record speed. He saw that in the sky above the end of the path to heaven, there was an illusory celestial stele that was 10 feet tall and engraved with names. And this celestial stele was the famous Xingluo celestial wall. Only geniuses who had cultivated for less than 50 years could enter and leave their names on it. It was rumored that geniuses who could leave their names on the 40 feet Xingluo celestial wall could break through the limit of the reverse beast king and become an emperor. And in the millions of years that the Xingluo celestial city had existed, only one person had carved his name on the 90 feet celestial wall at the top of the Xingluo celestial wall. And that person was the legend of the Xingluo continent, the #1 expert, Star Emperor. Mobile reading site, book address. To make it easier for you to read it next time, you can click on the Save button below to record this reading record. You will see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 824. I wonder if the spirit fish and I will be able to leave our names at the 90 zhang mark of the Xingluo sky wall. Yi Chunfeng looked up at the Xingluo sky wall that was emitting starlight and locked onto the top of the wall. Although it had experienced the vicissitudes of time, it was still filled with a domineering aura. It was engraved on the jade wall like a dragon flying and a phoenix dancing, Star Emperor. Because Yi Chunfeng had passed the path to heaven too quickly, there was no one under the Xingluo sky wall. Yi Chunfeng took this opportunity to summon the younger spirit fish from the universe mirror. He was ready to take the test of the Xingluo sky wall with her. After learning about the Xingluo sky wall from Yi Chunfeng, the spirit fish showed great interest. The battle intent in her body grew stronger and stronger. She couldn't wait to use the Xingluo sky wall to test herself and leave her name at the top of the Xingluo sky wall. Because each person only had one chance to pass through the Xingluo sky wall, Yi Chunfeng and the spirit fish didn't waste this rare opportunity. They sat cross-legged under the Xingluo sky wall and silently adjusted their condition. As time passed, many genius disciples passed through the 4 paths to heaven and entered the Xingluo sky wall. Among them was the man in the luxurious robe with powerful attack power. Who is that little girl? She was even faster than me on the path to heaven. The man in the luxurious robe was very arrogant. He didn't put ordinary geniuses in his eyes. Therefore, when he saw the cute spirit fish arrive at the Xingluo sky wall before him, he felt somewhat unbalanced. After resting for more than an hour, Yi Chunfeng and the spirit fish both adjusted their condition to the best. They were ready to enter the Xingluo sky wall and take the test of the Xingluo sky wall. Brother Chunfeng, let's compete today. Let's see who can leave their name at the 90 zhang mark. The spirit fish's beautiful eyes curved into crescents as she said eagerly. No problem. Yi Chunfeng nodded as he spoke with lofty sentiments. After that, they both flew towards the sky wall of Xingluo. They were prepared to break through the sky wall's restrictions and take the test. Compared to leaving one's name in the 90 zhang space? Did I hear it right? They think they are the reincarnation of Star Emperor. Are those two idiots? They don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Hearing the conversation between Yi Chunfeng and the spiritual fish, many of the geniuses revealed looks of ridicule. They didn't believe that they had the strength to leave their names in the 90 feet space. Boom! Just as the crowd was discussing animatedly and ridiculing the arrogance of Yi Chunfeng's duo, an earth-shattering explosion rang out in the void, giving them a fright. The spirit fish waved its little fist, and a force of tens of millions of kilograms burst forth, crushing the sky wall's restriction formation as easily as crushing dry weeds. It entered the sky wall in its most powerful form. On the other hand, Yi Chunfeng's attack was much lighter. With a light stroke of his fingertip, the sword Dao pattern burst out and sliced open the Xingluo sky wall's restriction formation with incomparable sharpness before entering. Starry sky. This Xingluo sky wall is actually a boundless starry sky. After entering the Xingluo sky wall, Yi Chunfeng realized that the spiritual fish was gone. He was in a boundless starry sky. Streaks of resplendent meteors constantly streaked across the starry sky and fell towards 100,000 feet tall sky wall in the distance. After entering the Xingluo sky wall, Yi Chunfeng realized that he had lost contact with all the treasures. In this place, he could only rely on his own strength to take the test. Just as Yi Chunfeng was looking at the strange starry sky, he suddenly felt the space around him fluctuate. 3 strange figures appeared and surrounded him in a triangle formation. They launched a thunderous attack at him. 3 Class 5 defiant beast kings. Yi Chunfeng did not panic at all when he was suddenly ambushed by the 3 of them. Using the sword steps, he took a step forward and appeared outside the encirclement as if he had teleported. The 3 Class 5 defiant beast kings were pierced by the sword Dao pattern bursting out from his feet. Their bodies exploded in the strange, starry sky and disappeared. After killing the 3 with the sword step, Yi Chunfeng quickly appeared below the sky wall. He summoned the golden ping wings and flew above the sky wall. Break! He flew to the extreme of the first layer of space. The sword Dao pattern burst out from his body and tore open the first layer of space restriction before entering the second layer of space. and if one carved their name on the second layer of the heavenly wall, their name would appear on the second layer of the heavenly wall. After entering the second layer of space, Yi Chunfeng didn't stop and continued to fly. At this time, a spear light that looked like a rolling flood dragon came down and pierced towards his skull at an extremely fast speed. Yi Chunfeng did not slow down at all when he was attacked by the spear light that was spinning in the air. Instead, he charged forward and tapped the spear light with his finger. At the next moment, Yi Chunfeng's finger shot out millions of kilograms of force and shattered the spear light. He then pointed at a Class 6 defiant beast king in a black robe. His face was full of killing intent and he was emitting a sky-piercing killing intent. Chi. Yi Chunfeng's finger pierced through the black-robed man's body. The terrifying force poured into his body and caused him to explode. After killing a Class 6 defiant beast king with one finger, Yi Chunfeng's sharp senses sensed danger around him. Two more 6th-grade defiant beast kings appeared and launched fierce attacks at him from both sides. After breaking through to the Class 2 Beast Emperor realm, Yi Chunfeng could kill Class 5 Beast Emperors. A mere Class 6 defiant beast king was no threat to him. He stepped into the void, and a large number of sword patterns appeared under his feet. He attacked the two Class 6 defiant beast kings that appeared out of nowhere. A series of ear-piercing sounds rang out. Before the two Class 6 defiant beast kings could attack Yi Chunfeng, they were killed by his sword step. After killing 3 people, Yi Chunfeng didn't slow down. He penetrated the second layer of space and entered the third layer of space. Yi Chunfeng had only used 10 breaths to enter the threefold space, which could be said to be extremely shocking. However, the spirit fish's speed in breaking through the heavenly star rampart was even faster than his. At this moment, the spiritual fish had already entered the 4th layer of space and was fighting with 2 Class 1 beast emperors. They were wearing black armor and holding dragon-headed blades. In the entire Xingluo continent, there were only a handful of geniuses who could break through to the Class 1 Beast Emperor realm within 50 years of cultivation. Those who could defeat 2 Class 1 Beast Emperors at the same time were even rarer. However, there were already 2 Class 1 Beast Emperors in the 4th layer of space of Xingluo sky. It was enough to show how terrifying the test of Xingluo sky was. However, the spiritual fish had a powerful bloodline. Its physical strength had reached a terrifying 60 million gene of force. With one punch, it could even shatter a top-grade celestial artifact, not to mention the bodies of Class 1 Beast Emperors. The spiritual fish fought the two with ease. Its fists were filled with destructive power, and it kept smashing the defenses of the two, sending them flying again and again. When the 2 Class 1 Beast Emperors were sent flying for the 11th time by the spiritual fish's destructive power, their broken bodies couldn't withstand the spiritual fish's attack anymore. They exploded in midair and disappeared into the starry sky. After killing the 2 Class 1 Beast Emperors, the spiritual fish with high battle intent stomped its little foot and broke through the solid space wall. It fearlessly entered the 5th layer of space. The spiritual fish was the first to enter the 5th layer of space. Yi Chunfeng also killed 3 half-step beast emperors and entered the 4th layer of space. 2 Class 1 Beast Emperors. Looking at the 4th layer of the trial taker, Yi Chunfeng's brows twitched. It's indeed not easy to leave one's name at the 90 zhang mark of the heavenly star rampart. If a trial taker of the 4th layer of the heavenly star rampart is already a rank 1 beast emperor, then wouldn't the 9th layer of the heavenly star rampart be a rank 6 beast emperor? However, Yi Chunfeng had an unyielding heart. Facing more and more difficult challenges, his battle intent didn't diminish. Instead, it became more and more courageous. Rolling soul power burst out from his body. His black hair danced in the wind, and his sword intent overflowed. He was like a sword god as he slashed at the 2 Class 1 Beast Emperors. Mobile reading website, book address. In order to make it easier for you to read this book next time, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this book. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 825. Qi. 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 Under Yi Qinfeng's continuous sword Dao pattern attacks, the two Class 1 combat beast emperors couldn't resist at all. Their bodies were penetrated by the extremely sharp sword Dao pattern, and they disappeared from the fourth layer space. After killing the two candidates, Yi Qinfeng waved his hand and attacked. 40 sword Dao patterns gathered into a light sword that tore through the spatial wall and entered the fifth layer space. As expected, the candidates in the fifth layer space are Class 2 combat beast emperors. Looking at the two second-rank beast emperors who were sitting cross-legged under the starry sky like boulders, Yi Qinfeng's eyes shone with a strong fighting spirit. He took heavy steps and approached them step by step. When Yi Qinfeng was 3 meters away from them, the two candidates opened their eyes at the same time. Starlight shot out from their eyes that were as deep as the sea and locked onto Yi Qinfeng. In the next moment, a terrifying saber aura gushed out from their bodies. Two saber lights that were like surging waves broke out from their bodies and slashed towards Yi Qinfeng. Break! The two saber lights slashed down like mercury. 50 sword Dao patterns gushed out from Yi Qinfeng's body and turned into a boundless sword rain, directly crushing the two saber lights. Then, Yi Qinfeng took sword steps and instantly appeared in front of the two candidates. The sword Dao patterns that were intertwined with each other shot out at the same time and attacked the two candidates. Facing the sword steps attack, the two candidates who were quite strong raised their attack power to the limit. They used their hands as sabers and slashed fiercely, trying to force Yi Qinfeng to retreat. 5 elemental hands. When the two of them joined forces to resist the attack of the sword steps, Yi Qinfeng blasted out the Dao inside of the 5 elements with extremely strong destructive force, and it transformed into 2 enormous hands of the 5 elements that fiercely pressed down on their bodies, forcing them to resist with all their might. Die! An extremely thin but extremely condensed sword light shot out from Yi Qinfeng's right hand. Before the two examinees could react, it broke through their defenses and chopped off their heads. Bang bang! Their heads were cleaved off by Yi Qinfeng's condensed sword gleams. The terrifying 5 elements giant hand crushed down ruthlessly, crushing their bodies and causing them to explode and dissipate in the starry sky. Next, I will be tested by a rank 3 beast emperor. As the difficulty of the trial increased, Yi Qinfeng didn't dare to be careless. He simply adjusted his breath in the 5th layer space to recover before tearing open the space wall and entering the 6th layer space. So dark. This 6-fold space is so dark. After entering the 6-fold space, Yi Qinfeng discovered that the 6-fold space was so dark that he couldn't even see his fingers. All the light had been swallowed up by a strange power. Suddenly, Yi Qinfeng sensed danger with his sharp senses. A sword gleam flashed in front of his eyes and pierced toward his head. So fast! Yi Qinfeng's eyes contracted. He executed the sword steps and immediately counterattacked. The instant his entire body flew out, 70 sword Dao patterns shot out and attacked the examinee who had blended into the darkness with astonishing attack speed. And I dodged it. Yi Qinfeng lifted his brows. He didn't expect that his sword steps and close attack actually couldn't hit the examinee who was hiding in the dark space. While he was bewildered, he felt danger above his head. Streaks of sharp sword gleams enveloped his body and wanted to pierce his head. Lion King's roar. Yi Qinfeng's defense was so terrifying that he ignored the sharp sword gleams. A powerful roar was released from his mouth. It was like the roar of a lion king. It shook heaven and earth as it blasted towards the top of the examinee's head. The examinee in the dark space couldn't dodge in time when he was attacked by the Lion King's roar. His body trembled and was sent flying. Break! Yi Qinfeng's powerful soul spirit instantly locked onto the examinee. With a backhand cleave, a several feet long sword gleam slashed over ruthlessly. Just as the giant axe-like sword gleam was about to cleave onto the examinee's body, the examinee who was sent flying by the Lion King's roar moved slightly and blended into the dark space again, vanishing. There might only be one examinee in this sixth heaven space, but the difficulty of the trial is incomparable to the first 5 levels. Such strange speed is truly astonishing. After witnessing the unpredictable speed of the examinee in the sixth heaven space, Yi Chunfeng was slightly astonished. 80 sword Dao patterns burst out from his body. He was prepared to launch a sharp attack and defeat the examinee in one move. Here it comes. When the sword Dao pattern was completely released, Yi Chunfeng's sharp senses detected the approaching danger. Using his hand as a sword, he continuously slashed. The sharp sword edges crisscrossed and cut through the space, shattering the strange sword that the examinee was thrusting at him and enveloping him. After his sneak attack failed, the examinee immediately dodged, but when Yi Chunfeng raised his sword steps to the subtle realm, his movement speed instantly soared, surpassing the examinee's. Swish! There was the sound of cloth being torn apart as the sword imbued with 80 sword Dao patterns slashed at the examinee's body, breaking through his defenses and sending him flying. Yi Chunfeng stepped forward and closed in on the examinee, condensing 5 celestial demon chains to seal off the area where the examinee could dodge. It's over. After sealing off the examinee in the sixth heaven, Yi Chunfeng used his hand as a sword and unleashed an annihilating sword gleam that tore through space, cleaving the examinee's heavily injured body in two and passing the trial of the sixth heaven. I wonder how difficult the trial of the seventh heaven will be. Yi Chunfeng took in a deep breath and sat cross-legged in the black space to recover, preparing to enter the seventh heaven in peak condition to take the trial. At the same time, the spiritual fish had already entered the desert-like sevenfold space. It was fighting fiercely with a level 4 beast emperor candidate who was more than 3 meters tall and had a bronze body that looked like it was made of steel. It was holding a pair of heavy axes in its hand. Golden Eye Blood Ape Bloodline Ignite. After fighting for 15 minutes, the spirit fish realized that it was unable to suppress the examinee, so it immediately ignited its bloodline energy, greatly increasing its offensive power and exploding with heaven-shaking strength to suppress the examinee. At this time, Yi Chunfeng broke through the tough space wall and entered the sevenfold space as well. He fought fiercely with a similarly strong and extraordinary test-taker who wielded dual axes. God-Devil Bloodline Ignite. Yi Chunfeng was unable to use his Dao artifact and his offensive power was suppressed. He ignited his God-Devil bloodline without hesitation and forcibly increased his physical strength to 65 million Jin to fight with the examinee in the seventh heaven. 5 elements Dao intent, life and death Dao intent, heaven and earth Dao intent. Relying on his absolute strength, Yi Chunfeng suppressed the examinee in the seventh heaven. The 3 fused Dao intents exploded in his body and transformed into a terrifying Dao intent hand. They continuously suppressed the examinee and forcibly knocked the 2 axes out of the examinee's hands. Third ultimate of water prohibition, illusory dragon water shadow. After the examinee lost his axes, Yi Chunfeng immediately fused the 3 Dao intents together and transformed them into a water shadow that looked like a real dragon. It distorted the space in the sky and carried an astonishing destructive power as it bombarded the examinee's body. Boom! The examinee's strong body trembled and was shattered by the terrifying attack power of the illusory dragon water shadow. He completely lost control of his body and was sent flying. Seizing the opportunity when the examinee's body was injured, Yi Chunfeng unleashed the 3 Dao intents and physical strength to the extreme. He attacked ferociously and did not give the examinee a chance to catch his breath. Under the bombardment of waves of Dao skills, the examinee in the seventh heaven was blasted into pieces by Yi Chunfeng. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Collect button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 826. Phew, I've finally passed the sevenfold space test. Seeing the illusion of the desert slowly disappear, Yi Chunfeng let out a long sigh of relief. He sat cross-legged in the sevenfold space, recovering his consumed soul power and preparing to take the test of the eighth space. Although Yi Chunfeng's strength had increased greatly after breaking through to the second-rank Beast Emperor realm, it was still extremely difficult for him to defeat a fifth-rank Beast Emperor without using his trump cards. And to pass the ninth space test and leave one's name on the 90 celestial wall was even more difficult. However, Yi Chunfeng didn't give up. He eliminated all distracting thoughts and silently adjusted his breathing, preparing to take the test of the eighth space test in his best condition. Damn, it's been almost 4 hours, but those two people still haven't fallen from the Xingluo celestial wall. Their talent is really so heaven-defying. Not necessarily. Maybe they've been hiding in the first space, deliberately creating a strong illusion to confuse us. Yes, that man is only a first-rank Beast Emperor. Even if his talent is heaven-defying, it's already very impressive for him to pass the first space test. Leaving his name on the 90 celestial wall is just for show. Many genius disciples were waiting patiently for nearly 4 hours, but when they saw that Yi Chunfeng and the spiritual fish still hadn't fallen from the Xingluo celestial wall, they began to speculate. Suddenly, a dazzling white light shone from the 90 celestial wall in the Xingluo celestial wall. A white light wantonly appeared there. Lin Qishe. Seeing the name appear on the 90 celestial wall, the noise suddenly disappeared. Almost everyone's eyes were attracted by the name Lin Qishe. In the next moment, a muffled groan came from the Xingluo celestial wall. The man in the luxurious robe that Yi Chunfeng met on the path to heaven fell from the Xingluo celestial wall. It's him. With his sixth-rank Beast Emperor realm strength, he actually has the strength to leave his name on the 90 celestial wall. Look, this is what you call strength. As for those two, they're just showing off. As the discussions of the crowd resounded in his ears, the luxurious-robed man's expression changed slightly, but he didn't reveal a trace of arrogance. This was because he had personally witnessed Yi Chunfeng's astonishing strength, and he wasn't as weak as the crowd said. He guessed that Yi Chunfeng hadn't left the Xingluo skywall yet because he was trying to reach a higher altitude. Just as the man in the luxurious robe had guessed, Yi Chunfeng and the spiritual fish entered the eighth layer of celestial walls one after another. They found themselves in a purgatory of lava. Endless heat waves emerged from the fiery red lava, burning the air and distorting it. At the end of the scorching lava, Yi Chunfeng suddenly discovered a pair of eyes, a pair of terrifying eyes that were like copper bells. A huge head popped out of the boiling lava, and boundless killing intent shot out from its bell-sized eyes, completely locking onto him. Level 8 Heavenly Beast, Blazing WRM. Looking at the huge dragon head in front of him, Yi Chunfeng revealed a dignified expression. In the next moment, his eyes turned into the most dangerous pinhole shape. On the back of the blazing WRM, which was covered with fiery dragon scales, he discovered a tall and sturdy blazing WRM. The blazing WRM was wearing a flaming battle armor and wielding a dragon head blade that was 10 feet long. A level 5 Beast Emperor blazing WRM, and a level 8 Heavenly Beast. This Xingluo skywall's 8-layer space is so difficult. Looking at the man and dragon in front of him, even with Yi Chunfeng's strength, he still felt a trace of pressure. Although the Deity didn't have control of Dao intent, and couldn't be compared to a real level 5 Beast Emperor in the Xingluo skywall, Yi Chunfeng couldn't use his trump cards, so it was still difficult for him to defeat the blazing WRM. Furthermore, the blazing WRM was helping him. Since the 8th level of the celestial walls was already so difficult, Yi Chunfeng truly didn't dare to imagine how difficult the 9th level of the celestial walls would be. He finally understood why, after so many years, only the Star Emperor could leave his name on the 90-foot space. Junior, your challenge is over. Leave your name on the skywall and leave, otherwise you will become a ghost under my blade. The mighty and domineering blazing WRM looked sharply at Yi Chunfeng, warning him without a trace of emotion. Let's fight. I won't give up until the last moment. Yi Chunfeng took a deep breath, his fighting spirit rising to the peak. The terrifying fighting spirit caused the blazing WRM to reveal a look of surprise. In that case, don't blame me for being merciless. As he said that, a terrifying power erupted from the blazing WRM like a volcano. He controlled the blazing WRM, which was hundreds of meters long, and launched a deadly attack at Yi Chunfeng. Dragon's bloodline, ignite. Feeling the threat from the blazing WRM, Yi Chunfeng immediately ignited his dragon's bloodline, instantly increasing his soul power by 7 times. He swung his arms, which were comparable to low-grade Dao artifacts, to meet the blazing WRM. Boom! Yi Chunfeng's arms, which were filled with powerful soul power, collided with the dragon-head broadsword, causing a huge energy ripple. Een. When Yi Chunfeng met the blazing WRM's attack head-on, the blazing WRM opened its mouth and spat out scorching flames, which bombarded Yi Chunfeng's body. The blazing WRM's flames were very powerful, enough to incinerate a top-grade heaven artifact. However, it couldn't hurt Yi Chunfeng at all. He roared, and tens of millions of kilograms of strength and soul power fused together, fusing into his right fist. He punched at the blazing WRM's ferocious head, and the powerful force forced the blazing WRM back by more than 10 meters. What a strong body, what great strength! The highly intelligent blazing WRM revealed a shocked expression. He was shocked by Yi Chunfeng's physical strength and explosive strength. Mystic Extreme Dao. While the blazing WRM was shocked, 4 Dao Intents gushed out from Yi Chunfeng's body. The 6-fold illusion Dao Intents were the main force, and the 3 fused Dao Intents were the support. They turned into a long river of mystic extreme energy, which bombarded the blazing WRM. Ha! The mystic extreme energy, which was both real and illusory, attacked. The blazing WRM's body burned fiercely, and the scorching heat swept out in all directions. The dragon-head broadsword in his hand slashed down fiercely, breaking the mystic extreme energy. The remaining force didn't diminish as it slashed towards Yi Chunfeng. Sword step. Seeing Yi Chunfeng being struck by the dragon-head broadsword, sword Dao patterns appeared under Yi Chunfeng's feet. He took a step forward and instantly appeared more than 10 meters away. The moment he dodged the blazing WRM, he attacked the blazing WRM's huge body. PFFF, PFFF, PFFF. Under Yi Chunfeng's sword step and the Eightfold sword Dao Intents, the blazing WRM's dragon flame attacks were constantly being crushed. The blazing WRM's flaming body was constantly being split open by the sword Dao patterns. Furious dragon roars were incessantly heard, bombarding Yi Chunfeng's body. Magma prison. After witnessing Yi Chunfeng's unfathomable speed, the blazing WRM executed his great ability and mobilized the power of the entire magma purgatory. Rolling magma soared into the sky, forming a scorching hot magma prison in the void. It trapped Yi Chunfeng inside and restricted his speed. Trapped in the magma prison, Yi Chunfeng wasn't surprised. Instead, he was delighted. His battle intent grew stronger, and his arms were like divine weapons as he rushed over. The magma prison greatly restricted his movement, and similarly restricted the blazing WRM's movement. He took this opportunity to kill the blazing WRM with all his might, reducing the threat posed by the blazing WRM. At this moment, the spiritual fish in the 8 celestial walls had also encountered great trouble. It was fighting fiercely with the level 5 combat beast Emperor and the blazing WRM. Just as the battle was getting more and more intense, causing the 8 celestial walls to fluctuate, an endless amount of white light was released 8 zhang above the Xingluo celestial walls, illuminating the entire sky like it was daytime. The glaring light was so bright that people couldn't open their eyes. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Collect button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 8:27. White Light. Why is there such a strong white light in Xingluo's 8 zhang space? Could it be that someone has reached the 8 zhang space? Do you think it's those two who have reached the 8-layer space? It can't be. That guy is only a level 1 Beast King, and that girl is only 20 years old? How can she reach the 8-layer space? Let's wait and see. The difficulty of the 8-layer space is unimaginable. If that person doesn't die, he should be able to come out of the 8-layer space soon. Although there were 6 people taking the test at the same time, the spectators had a feeling that the person taking the test was most likely Yi Chenfeng or the spiritual fish. They couldn't help but look forward to it. Transform. The spiritual fish fought with the level 5 Beast Emperor's Flaming War God and Fire Jiao Dragon for more than half an hour. She was gradually suppressed by their fierce attacks. Seeing that she was about to lose, the pale-faced spiritual fish completely ignited her golden eye ape bloodline and transformed into a godly ape. She pounded her chest with both hands and looked up to the sky in anger. Violent energy surged all over her body as she raised her combat power to the peak. She waved her fists that were filled with explosive power to meet the flaming war god. The spiritual fish's strategy was the same as Yi Chenfeng's. They both attacked the Fire Jiao Dragon first, wanting to destroy it first before using all their strength to deal with the flaming war god. Crumbling mountain, god-shaking fist. The spiritual fish relied on her strong body to withstand the fierce attacks of the flaming war god. She frantically used her inherited divine ability to slay the dragon. However, the flaming war god's attacks were too terrifying. He kept destroying the spiritual fish's body and worsening her injuries, making her unable to attack the Fire Jiao Dragon with all her strength. As time passed, the spiritual fish's injuries became more and more serious. When she used her strongest punch to smash the Fire Jiao Dragon's broken body, the flaming war god waved his flaming saber and slashed her body, sending her flying. A large amount of blood flowed out from the saber wound on her chest. She had suffered a serious injury. It's over. The blazing war god looked at the severely injured spirit fish coldly and mercilessly. He raised his flaming saber high up and slashed down at her. Just as the flaming war god's saber landed on the spirit fish's heavily injured body, the second mysterious bloodline hidden in the spirit fish's body awoke. It transformed into a terrifying bloodline phantom, blocking the fatal blow of the flaming saber and attacking the flaming war god with full force. Boom! The flaming war god was struck by the bloodline shadow's attack and was sent flying. The flaming war god's armor of fire was completely shattered and many cracks appeared on his powerful body. Then, the bloodline phantom blasted out another palm. A giant hand filled with the power of the bloodline descended from the sky, collapsing the space and directly crushing the flaming war god. After killing the blazing flame war god, the terrifying bloodline phantom disappeared. The chaotic eightfold space gradually regained its calm. That blood shadow came out from my body? Is that the second bloodline in my body that Brother Qingfeng mentioned? The spirit fish's eyes widened. She was shocked by the terrifying blood shadow that appeared from her body. However, after this battle, the spirit fish was too heavily injured and couldn't recover in a short time. After hesitating for a while, she had no choice but to give up the opportunity to challenge the 9 tests. She came to the strange wall, pondered for a moment and carved a name. The moment the spirit fish carved her name, the eightfold sky wall immediately changed. The white light quickly converged and turned into a very beautiful name. However, when the surrounding crowd saw the name that appeared on the eightfold sky wall, they all widened their eyes and dropped their jaws. They were dumbfounded. Little cutie, what the hell is this? Looking at the new name that appeared on the eightfold sky wall, everyone present was dumbfounded. One had to know that in hundreds of years of history, only a mere 29 people had the strength to leave their name on the eightfold sky wall. The spirit fish was the 30th person. However, the first 29 names were all tyrannical and domineering. They were incompatible with the name Little Cutie. It's that little girl. Just when the Xingluo sky wall was silent, the spirit fish, who was covered in blood, left the Xingluo sky wall and appeared outside. Looking at the spirit fish's cute face and watery eyes, everyone was petrified. Damn, it's really her. How old is she? How can she have the strength to leave her name on the eightfold sky wall? Oh my God, this little girl is a peerless demon. Her talent is comparable to Star King. Looking at the young spirit fish, everyone present was shocked by her amazing talent. They looked at her with respect. Annoying, only leaving my name on the eightfold sky wall. I'm going to be laughed at by Brother Tringfong. The spirit fish blinked her big eyes and looked at her name that appeared on the eightfold sky wall of Xingluo sky wall. She was dissatisfied and muttered softly. I'm not satisfied with leaving my name on the eightfold sky wall. I'm going to be laughed at. Hearing the spirit fish's muttering, everyone was about to go crazy. Brother Tringfong, is that person really taking the eightfold sky wall of Xingluo sky wall's test? Thinking of Yi Chenfeng, who had challenged the Xingluo sky wall with the spirit fish, almost no one doubted his strength anymore. And the news that someone had challenged the eightfold sky wall of Xingluo sky wall spread like a gust of wind, attracting countless people to watch. However, Yi Chenfeng wasn't in the eightfold sky wall of Xingluo sky wall as everyone thought. At this time, he was still fighting with the flaming god of war and the fire dragon. Golden Body Secrets. Faintly unable to withstand the fierce attacks of the flaming god of war, the injured Yi Chenfeng used the Golden Body Secret. A layer of golden defensive light covered the broken blood dragon scale, instantly increasing his defense by 50%. Bang! The moment Yi Chenfeng used the Golden Body Secrets, the flaming dragon head broadsword ruthlessly slashed at Yi Chenfeng's body. Dazzling sparks splashed out, but it didn't injure his body. Sky Demon Devil Rope. Relying on his near mid-grade Dao artifact physical body to withstand the attack of the flaming broadsword, Yi Chenfeng's sevenfold soul power burst out and condensed 7 Sky Demon Devil Rope. 4 of them wrapped around the flaming god of war, and 3 wrapped around the fire dragon. Following that, Yi Chenfeng stabilized his out-of-control body and seized the moment when the flaming god of war tore apart the Sky Demon Devil Ropes to use the sword steps to attack the injured and furious fire dragon. 7 Swords of Judgment, Sky Shattering. Destruction. Judgment. Yi Chenfeng raised his 4 offensive Dao intents to the extreme and continuously slashed at the fire dragon with the 7 Swords of Judgment. Streaks of swords of judgment crisscrossed the heavens and earth, bringing with them boundless destructive power as they slashed at the fire dragon's body. The terrifying sword aura caused the space around the fire dragon to collapse, and the fire dragon's huge body was shredded into pieces before it disappeared. The moment Yi Chenfeng killed the fire dragon, the furious flaming god of war tore apart the Sky Demon Devil Ropes and slashed at Yi Chenfeng with his flaming broadsword. Dragon Heart Ignite. As the flaming god of war attacked, Yi Chenfeng immediately ignited his dragon heart and released endless blood energy into his body, increasing his strength once again. He swung his arms to meet the flaming god of war's attack and fought with him again. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button below to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 828. 8 Shah Azura Technique. The threat of the flaming war god was just too great. Out of desperation, Yi Chunfeng could only take the risk and condense 8 halos of slaughter outside Xingluo, increasing the power of slaughter by 8-fold. He slashed at the flaming war god. The surging power of slaughter merged with the 4 Tao intents and 7-fold soul force, forming an invincible sword. It slashed at the flaming war god arrogantly. Boom! When the flaming war god swung his dragon-headed blade to block Yi Chunfeng's invincible sword, Yi Chunfeng suddenly appeared behind him with the sword steps. He condensed 7 demonic chains and sealed off the space around him. Wrath of divine punishment. With a thought, Yi Chunfeng summoned his 3 heavenly spirits and compressed them to the limit. They turned into tricolored needles and shot at the flaming war god. Boom! When the flaming war god slashed at the wrath of God's punishment, it ignited the wrath of God's punishment and formed a volcanic eruption of energy. It crazily released its destructive power, swallowing the flaming war god and destroying his body. However, the flaming war god was just too powerful. He relied on his flaming armor to endure the wrath of divine punishment. He swung his dragon-headed blade to cut through the destructive storm. I'd like to see how many times you can withstand the wrath of divine punishment. Without the fire flood dragon bothering him, Yi Chunfeng could attack without any worries. He used his sword steps to dodge the flaming battle god's continuous swings of the dragon head blade. At the same time, he controlled the 3 heavenly spirits to fuse together, forming a terrifying divine punishment. He continuously bombarded the flaming battle god, weakening his defense. As time went on, the flaming war god was finally injured after withstanding several hundred wrath of divine punishment. His flaming armor was covered in crisscrossing cracks. Soaring immortal. Just as the flaming war god was injured, the sword Tao runes beneath Yi Chunfeng's feet instantly fused together. He slashed out and a 3-meter-long sword light split the sky. It fused with the surging power of slaughter and Tao intent, slashing at the flaming war god's chest with astonishing speed. Swish! The flaming war god's cracked armor was pierced through by the soaring immortal. The terrifying Tao intent and power of slaughter erupted in his body, shattering it. Sky Devil Rope. Yi Chunfeng did not give the blazing flame war god any chance to catch his breath. He condensed the sky demon chains to trap him and quickly closed in on him with sword steps. He swung his extremely destructive fists and continuously bombarded the blazing flame war god, engaging him in close combat. Boom, boom, boom. The 2 of them fought fiercely and wantonly, using speed to fight speed and strength to fight strength. The terrifying sounds formed by their fight continued to reverberate through the heavens and the earth, causing the space to constantly distort. In order to aggravate the blazing war god's injuries and destroy him in one fell swoop, Yi Chunfeng did not retreat. He gritted his teeth and endured the blazing war god's continuous destructive attacks, facing him head-on. About 2 hours later, the 2 people who were fighting to the death were both seriously injured. Their fierce attacks made people shudder. However, in order to maintain the power of his god and demon bloodline, Yi Chunfeng gritted his teeth and persisted. He did not burn his god and demon bloodline, nor did he use his strongest move, the true dragon transformation. He relied on his unyielding belief to continue attacking. Yi Chunfeng continued to bombard the blazing war god with punch after punch. His every punch contained unparalleled strength, offensive Tao intent, surging soul power, and killing power constantly erupted, forcibly shattering the blazing war god's blazing war armor. After losing the blazing war armor, the blazing war god's defense decreased greatly. He gradually could not withstand Yi Chunfeng's ferocious attacks. His cracked body was forced to retreat. Dark Extreme Tao. Illusory dragon water shadow. Seeing that the blazing war god could not hold on any longer, Yi Chunfeng took a deep breath. He ignored his injuries and blasted out a river-like illusory force with his left hand. His right hand struck out a dragon-like Dao technique, continuously bombarding the blazing war god's body and sending him flying. 7 Swords of Judgment, Judgment. Without waiting for the blazing war god to stabilize his body, Yi Chunfeng used his sword steps and leaped into the air. A terrifying Dao intent engulfed the heavens and the earth, locking onto the blazing war god who had lost control of his body. Swish! Yi Chunfeng violently swung his arm, which was close to a mid-grade Dao artifact. The terrifying Sword of Judgment seemed to destroy this space. It cut through all obstacles and slashed towards the blazing war god. Faced with Yi Chunfeng's powerful strike, the blazing war god sensed a strong sense of danger. However, he could not dodge as he had lost control of his body. He could only forcefully swing his dragon-headed sword to block. Boom! The dragon-headed sword in the blazing war god's hand trembled violently. The terrifying power of judgment passed through the dragon-headed sword and surged into his arm, shattering his arm. Emperor's shocking slash. Just as the blazing war god was about to lose his grip on the dragon-headed sword, Yi Chunfeng unleashed his Dao intent to the extreme. He deduced the path of the great Dao and slashed out a shocking strike filled with emperor force. It carried the momentum of the heavens and the earth, and slashed down on the blazing war god's right hand that was holding the dragon-headed sword tightly. It chopped down along with his arm. Heavenly Dao is merciless. With his arm chopped off, 10 heavenly Dao inscriptions gushed out of Yi Chunfeng's body. They transformed into a roaring heavenly might and slammed into the blazing war god's head. Bang! The blazing war god, who was unable to dodge, had his head smashed by the 10 heavenly Dao inscriptions. His robust body finally collapsed and turned into dust before vanishing. Huff! I finally killed him. With a pale face and severe injuries, Yi Chunfeng supported his knees with both hands and panted heavily. He quickly sat cross-legged on the ground and controlled the Dao pattern of life to heal his severe injuries. At this moment, more than a day had passed. However, during this day, the number of people waiting outside the Xingluo sky wall didn't decrease. Instead, it kept increasing. Even the city lord of the Xingluo Sky City, Sha Bingyun, who was wearing a white silk dress and bathed in the blue radiance, had appeared at the Xingluo sky wall. She was emitting a sacred aura. Grand Elder, do you think that person will be able to pass the final test and leave his name on the 30-foot sky wall? Sha Bingyun's watery eyes swept across the spirit fish that was sitting cross-legged with its eyes closed. She asked with a calm voice. No one could guess what she was thinking. No way. Thinking about the examinee of the 30-foot sky wall, the Grand Elder of the Xingluo Sky City, Sha Renjie, shook his head and said without any doubt. Can't he? Sha Bingyun frowned slightly and pondered. It is already unprecedented for him to be able to leave his name on the 30-foot sky wall. I don't believe that he can reach the level of the Star Emperor. The outcome of the final test will only be failure. Sha Renjie said. Grand Elder, now that the Xingluo Royal Mausoleum is about to open, and this person appeared so suddenly, could he be related to the Star Emperor? Thinking about the examinee of the 30-foot sky wall, Sha Bingyun's brows unconsciously knitted together. She had this absurd thought in her mind. City Lord, you are saying, this is just my guess. Let's wait patiently. If he really left his name on the 30-foot sky wall, then this person must be eliminated. Sha Bingyun said with a calm voice. When she spoke, her beautiful eyes flashed with a cold radiance. She had the aura of a queen. As time passed by, Yi Chunfeng was like a statue. He constantly controlled the life Dao pattern to heal his injuries and adjust his condition. After around a day, Yi Chunfeng had completely recovered. He didn't waste any more time and controlled the sword Dao pattern to tear open the spatial wall. He entered the last layer of the Xingluo sky wall to accept the final test. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the bookmark button at the bottom to record your reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 829. What a terrifying aura! After entering the 9 celestial walls, Yi Chunfeng saw a tall and straight figure standing in the endless starry sky. Although he was just standing there and his face couldn't be seen clearly, he gave Yi Chunfeng a majestic and unshakable feeling. I forgot how many years it has been since someone came here. The towering figure slowly turned around and looked at Yi Chunfeng, who had a sharp aura and stood out from the crowd. He said in a deep voice, "You are not bad." "You are?" Yi Chunfeng sensed his kingly aura, the pressure he unconsciously gave off, and the vigorous life force in his body. He felt that he was different from the other candidates in the previous 8 layers of space. He seemed to have flesh and blood and was a real existence. "You can call me Star King." The majestic figure revealed an unruly smile and said in a shocking manner, "Star King, you are Star King." Yi Chunfeng's eyes bulged and his heart was in turmoil. The way he looked at the majestic figure changed completely. He never dreamed that the challenger of the 9 celestial walls would be the #1 person in Xingluo, Star King. "Yes, it is me." Star King stood majestically and said without any emotion, "Senior, you are not dead?" Feeling the vigorous life force in Star King's body, Yi Chunfeng asked in surprise. If Star King was not dead, then he must have broken the shackles of life and reached a level that Yi Chunfeng couldn't understand. However, he couldn't figure out why Star King appeared in Xingluo's 9 celestial walls. "No, I am already dead. What you see now is my avatar in Xingluo's 9 celestial walls," Star King slowly said with his hands behind his back. "Avatar? But Senior, why is your avatar's life force so vigorous? And why did you leave your avatar in Xingluo's 9 celestial walls?" Yi Chunfeng asked in confusion. "This clone of mine has fused with a stone of life, which is why it can withstand the baptism of time without dying. As for why I left my clone here, I will tell you when you defeat me. Alright, you have 2 paths now. Either you retreat and return to the 8 Zhang celestial wall to leave your name there, or you accept my test and defeat me. However, I won't show any mercy during the test. Therefore, if you fail the test, you will be killed by me," Star Emperor said emotionlessly. Junior is willing to accept Senior's test. Although Yi Chunfeng felt somewhat powerless when facing the Star Emperor, the publicly recognized #1 person in the Xingluo continent, he did not retreat. Moreover, he felt that the Star Emperor must have a secret for leaving his avatar in the 9 layers of celestial walls, so he was prepared to fight with all his might. "Alright, since you've made your choice, let's begin the test. As long as you can injure me, the test will be considered a success." As he spoke, Star Emperor's aura and battle-intent soared, causing the surrounding space to tremble. His terrifying aura was like a mountain pressing down on Yi Chunfeng, breaking down his mental defense. 8 Sha Azura Art. Yi Chunfeng took a deep breath and circulated the 8 Sha Azura Art at high speed. 8 killing halos appeared behind him, releasing rolling killing power and tearing apart the aura and pressure released by Star Emperor. "I didn't expect you to have cultivated the 8 Sha Azura Art to perfection. It seems like your killing aura is very dense." Seeing the 8 killing halos condensing behind Yi Chunfeng, Star Emperor moved his arm, and a long sword emitting starlight appeared in his hand. He slashed with the sword, and a shocking sword light pierced through the sky like a dancing silver dragon. It carried a shocking destructive power and slashed towards Yi Chunfeng's head. Sword step. Yi Chunfeng didn't dodge when Star Emperor slashed with his sword. He quickly took a step forward, and 80 sword Dao patterns shot out, tearing a spiderweb-like crack in the space. it turned into a boundless sword rain and greeted the attack. The two powerful attacks clashed together, and the 80 sword Dao patterns shook violently. A large number of sword Dao patterns were instantly shattered and couldn't withstand the sword light slashed by Star Emperor. However, Yi Qinfeng, who was using the sword step, had already crossed over 30 meters and dodged Star Emperor's attack. 8-layered sword Dao intent. You are indeed extraordinary. You have comprehended the sword Dao to this extent at such a young age, Star Emperor said in a plain voice. He continued to attack with the Starlight Longsword in his hand. The crisscrossing sword marks sealed off Yi Qinfeng's dodging space. 5 elements Dao intent, life and death Dao intent, heaven and earth Dao intent. The dodging space was constantly sealed off by Star Emperor's sword lights. Yi Qinfeng immediately released the 3 fused Dao intents and deduced the power of Dao. It condensed into a huge Dao intent hand and slapped repeatedly, tearing apart the sealing sword lights. Junior, you are really surprising me more and more. It is already amazing to be able to comprehend one of the 3 fused Dao intent. You actually comprehended all 3 at the same time and even comprehended them to the 6th layer. Considering your amazing talent, I will spare your life no matter if you succeed or fail. Seeing Yi Qinfeng's shocking talent, Star Emperor cherished talent and couldn't bear to kill him. Thank you, Senior. But I am confident that I won't lose, Yi Qinfeng said unyieldingly. The power of the God-Eater brain radiated out and sensed Star Emperor's every move, looking for his flaws. Haha, then let me see what the source of your confidence is. Star Emperor laughed loudly with lofty sentiments. His entire body suddenly spun and turned into a starlight storm. It tore apart the space and swept towards Yi Qinfeng. Divine Demon Bloodline, ignite. As Star Emperor swept over, Yi Qinfeng didn't hesitate to transform into his divine demon body. His entire body was as strong as steel. 7 swords of judgment destroy. Yi Qinfeng used his hand as a sword and swung his arm that was as hard as a mid-grade Dao artifact. He slashed out a slash that could destroy space and ruthlessly slashed towards the starlight storm. Suddenly, boundless energy erupted and formed a tidal wave that wantonly attacked the space. The powerful energy caused cracks to appear in the space, as if it was about to collapse. However, the Xingluo sky wall was a treasure. It instantly restored the destroyed space and strengthened the space. Ka-cha-cha! When the destructive sword light slashed open a gap in the starlight whirlpool, it was broken by the twisting force of the whirlpool. At this time, Yi Qinfeng continued to swing his sturdy arms and slashed out 18 swords in the blink of an eye. They overlapped and slashed on the starlight whirlpool. Powerful strength, terrifying Dao intent, and chilling killing force intersected and constantly weakened the power of the starlight whirlpool. Break! Following the Star Emperor's roar, the 18 swords of Dao intent that Yi Qinfeng slashed out instantly shattered. However, Yi Qinfeng launched a new attack with a force of 65 million kilograms. The 3 fused Dao intents were like huge waves that were rising higher and higher. They surged and violently bombarded, and finally broke the starlight whirlpool that the Star Emperor launched. It's lit up. The 90-foot sky wall is lit up. That person has really entered the 9-layer jade wall space. The crowd that had patiently waited under the Xingluo sky wall for 2 days realized that the 90-foot sky wall had suddenly lit up. Their spirits shook as they stood up one after another and revealed a deep sense of excitement. If Yi Qinfeng could really create a miracle and leave his name on the 90-foot sky wall, then they would be the ones who witnessed the miracle. It was enough for them to brag about for the rest of their lives. Just as the densely packed crowd raised their heads in anticipation of the final result, dozens of Xingluo Heaven City experts quietly appeared and secretly engraved a large number of array patterns to seal the space around the Xingluo sky wall. Sha Bingyun would never allow outsiders to obtain the secrets of the Xingluo sky wall. Mobile reading website, book address, For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 830. Almost 70 million pounds of strength. Junior, you are really surprising me more and more. Sensing the power bursting out from Yi Chunfeng's body, Astro Emperor was surprised again. Even he was surprised by the skills that Yi Chunfeng had displayed, and he admired Yi Chunfeng even more. Perhaps you really have a slim chance of passing the test. As he spoke, Astro Emperor moved slightly and drew an afterimage in the endless starry sky. He slashed out a large amount of starlight sword light and attacked Yi Chunfeng rapidly. So fast. Seeing that Astro Emperor had increased his speed to the extreme and was beyond what his eyes could capture, Yi Chunfeng closed his eyes and controlled the God-Eater brain to lock onto Astro Emperor's rapid figure. He used the sword steps to dodge. The extremely fast afterimage cut through the space. A large amount of star Dao intent formed an extremely destructive star storm that kept sweeping towards Yi Chunfeng. Break! Break! Being engulfed by the storm formed by the star Dao will, Yi Chunfeng unleashed the power of his sword steps to the extreme. Sword-based Dao patterns gushed out at an extremely fast speed, continuously tearing apart the star storm and weakening the power of the star Dao will. However, the star storm formed by Astro Emperor was too powerful. Yi Chunfeng, who was like a lonely boat, couldn't tear through it with the sword steps. Golden body secrets. Trapped in the star storm, Yi Chunfeng's god-demon body was under tremendous pressure. He had no choice but to use the golden body secrets immediately. A layer of defensive golden light covered his crimson body, which increased his defense by 50% to resist the star storm. You have a lot of skills, but they are mainly for defense. They can't hurt me. Sensing that Yi Chunfeng had used the golden body scripture, and that his physical body was stronger than an ordinary mid-grade Dao artifact, Astral Emperor increased the intensity of the astral storm. It shook the void and bombarded Yi Chunfeng with earth-shattering force. Dragon Heart Ignite. Being pushed back by the star storm, Yi Chunfeng had to ignite his Dragon Heart. The rolling blood essence poured into his body and increased his strength again. In the next moment, Yi Chunfeng poured Dao Will, Slaughter Energy, and 65 million kilograms of strength into his arms, tearing apart the astral storm as he approached Astral Monarch. The power of dragons. Interesting, very interesting. Feeling the power of the Dragon Heart, Star Emperor was shocked again. He didn't expect that Yi Chunfeng, who was so young, had so many secrets. However, he did not slow down his attacks. As Yi Chunfeng approached, he quickly brandished his starlight sword and slashed at him. Chi. Star Emperor hacked at Yi Chunfeng's body with his sword, easily splitting his body into two halves. However, seeing Yi Chunfeng split into two halves, Star Emperor wasn't happy. Instead, he was shocked. This was because he discovered that his sword had only hit Yi Chunfeng's afterimage, not his real body. While he was shocked, Star Emperor sensed danger behind him. He turned around without hesitation and blasted out a dazzling fist to welcome Yi Chunfeng's Dao Will fist. The two fists that were filled with the power of destruction collided with each other, and a shocking power of Dao insight exploded out, causing dense ripples to appear in the air. Deng deng deng. After colliding with Star Emperor's fist head-on, Yi Chunfeng felt an unimaginable power rushing into his arm. His arm went numb from the shock, and he couldn't help but retreat. As Yi Chunfeng retreated, Star Emperor quickly slashed out with his sword. A mercury-like sword light slashed at Yi Chunfeng's body and sent him flying. A deep sword wound appeared on Yi Chunfeng's chest, and a large amount of blood seeped out. Life Dao Pattern Repair. Yi Chunfeng used his mind to control the Life Dao pattern to repair the wound on his chest quickly. He ignored the injuries on his body and continued to attack Star Emperor with his arms. You won't be able to hurt me with this kind of attack. Seeing Yi Qinfeng's Dao Will Fist radiance, Star Emperor was unmoved. He waved his starlight sword and continuously shattered Yi Qinfeng's attacks. When the two of them collided with each other and started to kill each other, Yi Qinfeng suddenly opened his mouth and spat out the wrath of God's punishment, which had fused together and turned into fine needles. The needles shot towards Star Emperor at close range. Facing the sudden attack of the wrath of God's punishment, Star Emperor didn't show any panic. He quickly pointed his finger at the wrath of God's punishment. Before the wrath of God's punishment could explode, he had crushed it and destroyed the 3 sky spirits. 7 Swords of Judgment. Emperor Sky Sword Art. After spitting out the fury of divine punishment and failing his sneak attack, Yi Qinfeng's arms moved quickly. He slashed out the Sword of Judgment with one hand and the Emperor Sky Sword Art with the power of the Emperor with the other as he continued to attack Star Emperor. Junior, your attack power might not be bad, but it is still too far away from injuring me. If your attack is only like this, then you are destined to fail. The Starlight Sword in Star Emperor's hand was brandished, and the invincible Starlight Swords kept breaking Yi Qinfeng's attacks, suppressing his attacks and tearing his body apart. Strong, too strong. After witnessing Star Emperor's unrivaled strength, Yi Qinfeng revealed a trace of helplessness. He constantly increased the God-Eater brain's deduction speed and searched for Star Emperor's weakness. However, Star Emperor's clone was too strong and didn't seem to have any weakness. Yi Qinfeng couldn't find any weakness. 9 Swords of Starlight. After breaking Yi Qinfeng's attack, Star Emperor's body turned blurry and instantly intertwined with 9 starlight shadows, slashing 9 swords at Yi Qinfeng. The dazzling starlight sword sealed off all of Yi Qinfeng's dodging space and forced him to swing his arms to receive the attacks. Boom, 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 boom. 9 deafening explosions sounded. Star Emperor's 9 starlight swords all slashed on Yi Qinfeng's body, leaving sword marks on his body that surpassed mid-grade Dao artifact. Yi Qinfeng was sent flying and fell heavily on the ground. If Yi Qinfeng wasn't strong enough, this attack would be enough to destroy Yi Qinfeng's body and kill him. Huff. Yi Qinfeng took a deep breath and covered his body with life Dao patterns. While suppressing his injuries, he clenched his teeth and continued to attack Star Emperor. Boom, 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 boom. Yi Qinfeng ignored his injuries and continued to attack Star Emperor, setting off endless waves. When Yi Qinfeng relied on his powerful physical body to take on Astro Emperor's extremely destructive punch, 10 marks of Heavenly Way surged out of his body and transformed into a terrifying might of Heavenly Way. They whistled as they bombarded Astro Emperor, forcing him to take 3 steps back. What Dao intent is this? Star Emperor raised his eyebrows and revealed a surprised expression. He was shocked by the Heaven Dao might and was even shocked by the power of the Heaven Dao might. I'm not injured. Yi Qinfeng wasn't discouraged when he saw that the Heaven Dao might had moved Star Emperor but wasn't able to injure him. He wanted to borrow the power of the Heaven Dao might and continue to move Star Emperor, looking for a breakthrough. Star Dao Diagram. Yi Qinfeng was shocked by the Heaven Dao might's attack. Star Emperor didn't show any mercy. The tenfold Star Dao intent in his doppelganger completely erupted and quickly gathered the Star Dao diagram. The moment he gathered the Star Dao intent, his aura underwent a tremendous change. It was as if the entire world was under his control. In this place, he dominated everything. He was God. Mobile reading site, book address. For your convenience, you can click on bookmark at the bottom to record this reading. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 831. Dao Diagram. Seeing Astro Emperor's Dao Diagram, Yi Qinfeng's pupils shrank into the most dangerous pinholes. Although he felt a strong sense of danger from the Dao Diagram, he also knew that when Astro Emperor formed the Dao Diagram, it was also the best opportunity to attack him. true dragon transformation! Yi Chunfeng took a deep breath and combined it with the power of the dragon heart. He unleashed the most powerful offensive mystique he had mastered. He instantly transformed into a ferocious true dragon with boundless murderous intent that swept through everything and crashed toward the Astral Emperor. Dragon Race Mystique. Astro Emperor raised his eyebrows and was shocked by the power of the true dragon transformation. Without hesitation, he quickly formed the Tao diagram in front of him to defend against the attack. Boom! When the divine dragon that Yi Chunfeng had transformed into crashed into the star Tao diagram, it formed an extremely violent shock wave. It was like a hurricane sweeping away the clouds and sweeping away the sand in all directions. Heaven's merciless Tao. Dark extreme Tao. Illusory dragon water shadow. Yi Chunfeng saw that the Tao diagram was cracked by his true dragon transformation. Without hesitation, he used a powerful Tao technique to attack the Tao diagram, wanting to destroy it. Once the Tao diagram was broken, Astro Emperor would most likely be injured by the Tao diagram's backlash. Star Tao diagram, destroy. Astro Emperor's pupils shrank. Relying on his powerful strength, he used the Tao diagram that was full of cracks to shatter Yi Chunfeng's Tao technique and explode the Tao diagram. Boom! A thunderous explosion sounded in the ninefold space. The terrifying sound was like the roar of a god, causing fear to rise in people's hearts. Oh no! Looking at the erupting energy, Yi Chunfeng's expression changed drastically. He used the sword steps to dodge at full speed. However, the explosion of the Tao diagram was too terrifying. It tore the extremely hard ninefold space apart, causing cracks that couldn't be healed for a long time. Yi Chunfeng, who couldn't dodge in time, was sent flying thousands of meters away. His entire body smashed heavily into the hard sky wall, and a large amount of blood spurted out of his mouth. Look, the Xingluo sky wall cracked at the 90-meter mark. Oh my god, what happened inside? It actually cracked the Xingluo sky wall. This has never happened in millions of years of history. Seeing the star Tao diagram explode and the sky wall that was torn, the outside world kept hearing the gasp. The spectators were all stunned by the scene in front of them, and their minds went blank. Could that person really pass the final test and leave his name on the 90-meter sky wall? Sharenjia was flabbergasted as he looked at the broken sky wall. It was as if he had seen a ghost. It seems like I was right. That person is very likely related to Astro Emperor. Sha Bingyun, who was as cold as ice, murmured in her heart as her eyes flashed with a cold light. City Lord, should we capture that little girl first? Sharenjia glanced at the spirit fish that was meditating cross-legged as he transmitted his voice to the City Lord. No need to rush. Let me see that person first. Sha Bingyun waved her hand and said indifferently. Although Sha Bingyun didn't make a move on the spirit fish, she increased the number of people and completely sealed the space. Once the negotiation with Yi Chunfeng failed, she would kill Yi Chunfeng with lightning speed to prevent future troubles. Not bad. You were just a little bit away from injuring me. Star Emperor walked through the chaotic space with heavy step. He walked step by step towards Yi Chunfeng, who was severely injured and coughing up blood, and praised him. Junior, I will ask you one last time. Are you still going to persist? If you give up now, I can spare your life. But if you continue to persist, I will no longer show mercy and kill you, Astro Emperor said in a deep voice as he looked at Yi Chunfeng, who was covered in blood, with his hands behind his back. Huff, I won't give up. Yi Chunfeng took a deep breath and forced himself to stand up. His eyes were filled with fearlessness as he spoke in a firm tone. After speaking, the sword Tao intent, life and death Tao intent, heaven and earth Tao intent, and 5 Tao intents gushed out of Yi Chunfeng's severely injured body and formed a great Tao trajectory above his head. Yes, great Tao trajectory. The astral monarch looked at the slowly moving great Tao trajectory above Yi Chunfeng's head, which looked like a galaxy. He revealed a trace of shock and said, I really did not expect that you could actually merge the 4 great Tao intents and form a great Tao trajectory under such adversity. Truly not simple. On the verge of death, Yi Chunfeng's potential was completely stimulated. Not only did he merge the profound great Tao trajectory, but his soul and sword soul also merged faster. Once he could control the power of the sword soul, he could use the attack power of the sword soul to injure Astro Emperor. Let me have a taste of the power of your great Tao trajectory. After speaking, a large number of star Tao inscriptions merged into the longsword, increasing the terrifying sword power. 9 swords of starlight. Astro Emperor roared, and turned into 9 fast afterimages again. He slashed out 9 swords at the same time. They emitted dazzling starlight, sealed the space, and slashed towards Yi Chunfeng. Feeling the terrifying power of the 9 swords of starlight, Yi Chunfeng took a deep breath. He controlled the great Tao trajectory formed by the 4 Tao intents to meet the attack. Rumble! The 9 swords of starlight clashed with the great Tao trajectory and burst out with endless radiance. The power of Tao intents swept out like waves. In the storm of this energy explosion, Yi Chunfeng's injuries worsened again. His body was covered with wounds, and a large amount of blood spurted out of his mouth uncontrollably. However, Yi Chunfeng didn't retreat or shrink back. He relied on his unyielding belief to bear the impact of the destructive power and continued to attack Astro Emperor. Great Tao trajectory, blazing sun. Several Tao intents gushed out of his body again. This time, Yi Chunfeng took the risk and merged the Heaven Tao inscriptions into the Great Tao trajectory. After merging with the Heaven Tao, the Great Tao trajectory immediately shook, putting Yi Chunfeng's soul under great pressure. However, he was hovering between life and death. He couldn't care less about the pressure on his soul. He controlled the great Tao trajectory to turn into a blazing sun and attacked Astro Emperor. 10th Star Tao break. Feeling the terror of the great Tao blazing sun, Astro Emperor's expression changed slightly. He controlled the 10th Star Tao intent to merge into the longsword and slashed forward with irresistible force. The terrifying star sword forcefully resisted the great Tao blazing sun and cracked it continuously. True Dragon Transformation. Seeing that the great Tao blazing sun was destroyed by Astro Emperor, Yi Chunfeng, who had no way to retreat, roared and ignited his dragon heart and blood. With the help of the powerful blood and blood, he turned into a terrifying true dragon again. He swayed his body, tore apart the space, and crashed heavily towards Astro Emperor, whose expression changed slightly. 10th Star Tao, Starlight Sky Wall. Astro Emperor's hands moved quickly. 100 Star Tao inscriptions appeared on his body and gathered into an impregnable sky wall. It took the fatal blow of the true dragon transformation head-on. Boom! Boom! The blazing sun of the Great Path was detonated by Yi Chunfeng. The true dragon that Yi Chunfeng had transformed into also crashed into the starlight sky wall. The powerful attack caused cracks to appear on the starlight sky wall. In the next moment, Yi Chunfeng suddenly opened his mouth. An extremely thin sword light shot out of his mouth and tore a deep sword mark in the fragile space. It pierced towards Astro Emperor's chest at the speed of light. Puff! Astro Emperor's powerful defense was pierced by this thin sword light. His powerful body was also pierced. He couldn't help but step back. Sword Soul. You actually cultivate the Sword Soul Tao. Astro Emperor covered his chest that was pierced by the Sword Soul Tao. His eyes widened in disbelief. Senior, you're already injured. I passed this test, right? Yi Chunfeng, who had consumed a lot of blood and blood, looked at Astro Emperor with a pale face and almost lost the ability to fight, asked while panting heavily. You didn't let me down. You passed. Astro Emperor, who came back to his senses, smiled as if a heavy burden had been lifted off his shoulders. In this test that was almost impossible to pass, Yi Chunfeng turned the situation around with the help of the Sword Soul Tao. Mobile reading site, Book address. To make it easier for you to read it next time, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. You can see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 832. After about a day, Yi Chunfeng had basically healed his injuries with the help of the powerful life Tao will. He spat out a mouthful of turbid air and woke up. Junior, you're awake. To be honest, I didn't expect you to be so outstanding. You have mastered so many heaven-defying techniques and majored in Sword Soul Tao. Star Emperor looked at Yi Chunfeng with gratification and did not hide his admiration. Senior, you flatter me. I was just lucky and got some opportunities. Yi Chunfeng smiled and said in a neither arrogant nor humble manner. You don't have to be modest. Great opportunities are not obtained with luck. You have all the qualities to become a top expert. I have faith in you. Well, you've passed my test. You can ask me any questions you have. I'll tell you everything I know. Star Emperor put his hands behind his back as he looked at Yi Chunfeng with appreciation in his eyes. Senior, why did you leave your doppelganger in Xingluo's ninefold space? Yi Chunfeng asked straightforwardly. When I was pregnant with a life and death tribulation, in order to prevent my inheritance from being lost, I used a great divine ability to forcibly break the Xingluo's ninefold space. I crushed the test-takers in the ninefold space and refined this world. I left my strongest doppelganger behind and waited for the fated one to appear. Now you've passed my test and are qualified to inherit my inheritance. Star Emperor said without hiding anything. Senior, it's said that you had reached the Nirvana heavenly realm and were invincible in the world. With your strength at that time, who in the entire Duhan continent could threaten your life? Yi Chunfeng asked doubtfully. I didn't die in the hands of the experts in the Duhan continent. When I was tearing open the celestial realm's gate, I was severely injured and destroyed by a powerful expert of the celestial clan. In the end, I failed to ascend and died in Xingluo continent. Star Emperor sighed softly and explained slowly. Senior, why did the powerful expert of the celestial clan attack you? Yi Chunfeng raised his eyebrows. He felt that Star Emperor's death might be related to a big secret. The reason why the celestial race tried to kill me was because I controlled the Saint Treasure, the Saint Star Moon Orb. When I failed to ascend, the Saint Star Moon Orb was also taken away by them. Star Emperor continued. Senior, although Saint Treasures are the best in the fighting spirit continent, there should be many treasures in the Qingyun domain that surpass Saint Treasures, right? Yi Chunfeng had the God-Eater brain, so he knew that holy treasures were not very valuable in the heaven region. That's right. The Star Moon Sacred Pearl is not a precious treasure in the Qingyun region, but I got it in the periphery of the central continent's Beyond Sky. The Beyond Sky seems to be related to the inheritance of a powerful figure in the Qingyun region. The powerful figure of the Sky Clan took the Star Moon Sacred Pearl because he wanted to deduce the mystery of that powerful figure who died. The Star Emperor didn't hide anything. As expected, this Star Moon Saint Orb is related to other secrets. After confirming the guess in his heart, Yi Chunfeng developed some interest in this sky beyond heaven. Junior, if you can break through to the level 6 combat beast emperor realm in the future, you can go to Beyond Avalon in the central continent to try your luck. Maybe you will have a chance to enter Beyond Avalon. However, when you reach the central continent, you must be careful of the people from the 3 divine kingdoms. Don't trust them so easily. Star Emperor looked at Yi Chunfeng, who was deep in thought, and warned him seriously. Why? Yi Chunfeng was puzzled. Because the 3 divine kingdoms are not of the human race. The blood flowing in their bodies is the blood of other races. Star Emperor told Yi Chunfeng another big secret. Senior, I know that the Octave Divine Kingdom is inherited from the demon race, and the Kirin Kingdom is inherited from the demon race. Then which race did the Jiutian Divine Kingdom inherit from? Yi Chunfeng asked in surprise. He didn't expect that the three most powerful divine kingdoms in the fighting spirit continent were not of the human race. The Jiutian divine kingdom inherited from the celestial race. Star Emperor said slowly, "My death is also related to the Jiutian divine kingdom. The celestial race of the Qingyun realm targeted me because they told on me. The celestial race, the demon race, and the demon race. I didn't expect the fighting spirit continent to be controlled by other races," Yi Chunfeng said with a sigh. "The fighting spirit continent hides many shocking secrets. This is also the reason why the three races spent countless years to destroy the human race's inheritance and establish the three great forces on the fighting spirit continent. Senior, if the races of the Qingyun realm know that the fighting spirit continent hides many shocking secrets, why don't they send someone to the lower realm to take Rome?" Yi Chunfeng continued to ask. "I heard that it is not easy for someone from the Qingyun realm to descend to the lower realm. The stronger they are, the harder it is to descend to the lower realm. There are many dangers in the lower realm. If they are not careful, they may be annihilated. Moreover, the fighting spirit continent has a guardian. Ordinary people from the Qingyun realm might be suppressed or killed by him when they descend to the lower realm. Therefore, the three races spent countless years to establish their inheritance on the fighting spirit continent." Star Emperor explained. "I didn't know that the fighting spirit continent hides so many secrets." Yi Chunfeng took a deep breath and said, "I feel that the fighting spirit continent is not simple. The fighting spirit continent that I know is only the tip of the iceberg. By the way, Senior, since the fighting spirit continent has a guardian, why didn't he destroy the three races' inheritance and establish the human race's inheritance?" Yi Chunfeng asked. "I don't know. I have never seen the guardian of the fighting spirit continent. I don't know what he is thinking, and I don't know if he is a master of the human race. All right, Junior. Don't think too much about the secrets of the soul-fighting continent. What you need to do now is to increase your strength as soon as possible. Only when you are strong enough can you learn about those secrets. Otherwise, it will only hasten your death," Star Emperor said. "Yes, I understand." Yi Chunfeng nodded and said, "Junior, now that you have passed my test, you are qualified to inherit my inheritance. This star token is for you. After you refine this star token, you can use it to summon the 6 keys to open the imperial tombs. Then, you can inherit the inheritance of my original body and the treasures that I have collected." Star Emperor opened his mouth and spat out a hexagonal star token, giving it to Yi Chunfeng. "Thank you, Senior." Looking at the hexagonal star token that the Star Emperor had given him, Yi Chunfeng was pleasantly surprised. With this star token, he would be able to destroy the True Demon Clan and Star All Heaven City's conspiracy and obtain the Star Emperor's inheritance. Star Emperor was the most powerful person in the Xingluo continent for hundreds of years. His inheritance would definitely make a 9th-grade divine kingdom jealous. The treasures in it would be unimaginable. By the way, Senior, can you leave the Xingluo sky wall? Thinking of how powerful Star Emperor's doppelganger was, he knew that it would be of great help to him if he could leave. "No, I have already merged with the 9 layers of the Xingluo sky wall. There is no distinction between us. If I leave the sky wall, I will turn into ashes instantly and cease to exist." Star Emperor shook his head and said, "All right, Junior. You have to walk your own path in the future. Go to the 90 Zhang sky wall and leave your name there. After that, I will send you away. Don't repeat my mistakes in the future, and you can ascend to the immortal realm." Star Emperor took a deep breath and said, "Don't worry, Senior. I will avenge you. When I ascend to the immortal realm one day, I will help you kill your enemies and take back the Star Moon Pearl." Yi Chunfeng promised. Good. I was right about you." Hearing Yi Chunfeng's promise, Star Emperor showed a gratified smile. After he finished speaking, Yi Chunfeng slowly walked to the highest point of the starry sky wall. A sharp sword Dao pattern shot out from the tip of his finger as he pressed it against the incomparably hard wall. Then, with a fluid motion, he carved out the 2 words Sword God. Remember the URL. Sanwu Chinese Network. Chapter 833. Heavens, a new name really appeared on the 90 Zhang celestial wall. That person really passed all the tests. Since when did our Xingluo continent have such a shocking talent? Which power does he come from? Sword God. Using a god as a title. That person is actually so arrogant, wanting to surpass the Star Emperor. Seeing Yi Qinfeng carving the title on the 90 Zhang celestial wall, the people below the Xingluo celestial wall were in an uproar. Many pairs of eyes were looking at the Xingluo celestial wall in unison, wanting to see Yi Qinfeng's elegant demeanor. Many people were also dissatisfied with the title he carved. Unrelated people, leave immediately. You are not allowed to stay here. Receiving the order from the frosty Sha Bingyun, several experts from the Xingluo celestial wall appeared in midair and gave the order. Why? Why are we leaving now? I want to see the majesty of the Sword God. Many experts protested loudly. I will count to 10. If you don't leave, leave your life behind. An old man wearing a black martial arts suit, his white hair fluttered in the wind. His face was full of wrinkles, but he was full of energy. His eyes were filled with ominous glints as he threatened. Feeling the boundless killing intent emitted by the experts from the Xingluo celestial wall and looking at the restriction runes floating in midair, many people became timid and left the Xingluo celestial wall with regret, returning to the Xingluo celestial wall. In less than 5 breaths of time, under the death threat of the experts from the Xingluo celestial wall, almost all the onlookers below the Xingluo celestial wall had left. Only Ling Yu and 3 other experts who were confident in their strength and wanted to befriend Yi Qinfeng remained. What? You want to harm Brother Qingfeng? Ling Yu, who had already recovered from her injuries, stood up from the ground and looked at the white-haired old man and the others coldly. Little girl, I advise you to behave and not challenge the might of the Xingluo celestial wall. Otherwise, you will regret it. The white-haired old man, who was a level 3 combat beast emperor, glared at Ling Yu and warned. So what if it is a challenge? If you provoke me, I'll turn your Xingluo heaven city upside down. The fearless spirit fish exuded a domineering aura as it spoke without backing down. You are courting death. The white-haired old man didn't expect the spirit fish to be so arrogant. A ruthless light flashed in his eyes as 2 Dao intents erupted. He slapped his palm across the air, causing the air to fluctuate violently as the palm imprinted towards the spirit fish. Break. The spirit fish did not retreat when the palm light of the will of the way of the white-haired old man struck out. Instead of retreating, the spirit fish moved forward with the 8 divine ape shadows. Its fist, which contained a force of tens of millions of jin, shattered the palm that contained the will of the way. It quickly closed in on the white-haired old man, whose expression had changed slightly. As the spirit fish approached, the experts of Xingluo Heaven City standing beside the white-haired old man immediately launched an attack at the spirit fish, wanting to injure her severely and capture her alive. However, the spirit fish's speed was too fast. In the blink of an eye, her speed increased by 3 times. She dodged everyone's attacks and appeared in front of the white-robed elder. She threw 3 punches at him, wanting to penetrate his chest. Heaven extinguishing palm. As the spirit fish attacked with all her might, the white-haired old man immediately struck out an overwhelming palm light that overlapped with each other, shaking off the 3 fist lights that the spirit fish blasted out. When the 2 powerful attacks collided, the spirit fish stepped on the 8 divine ape shadows and drew a strange afterimage in midair, appearing diagonally below the white-haired old man. In the next moment, the spirit fish grabbed onto the white-haired old man's ankle and exploded with a force that was beyond what his body could withstand. Her petite body made a beautiful circle in midair, throwing the white-haired old man, who had completely lost control of his body, onto the hard ground. Kacha! The white-haired old man's head smashed into the ground, causing a large area of the ground to crack. Streams of blood flowed out from his forehead. "What are you all waiting for? Capture this little girl for me." After witnessing the spirit fish severely injuring the white-haired old man, Sha Bingyun's face darkened. She was furious and ordered loudly. Subsequently, close to 10 experts of Xingluo Heaven City besieged the spirit fish, using all their skills to capture her alive. Bloodline of the Golden Eye Divine Ape Ignite. Despite being besieged, the spirit fish's petite face did not have a trace of panic. Without hesitation, she ignited the power of her bloodline and transformed into a terrifying divine ape. She then fought fiercely with the besieging experts of Xingluo Heaven City. Divine beast? This little girl has the bloodline of a divine beast flowing in her body. Seeing the spirit fish transform into the golden eye divine ape, the cold Sha Bingyun was moved for the first time. Just as she continued to mobilize the experts to besiege the spirit fish, a blinding white light suddenly shot out from the Xingluo Heaven Wall. Yi Chunfeng, who had passed all the tests and left his name at the Heaven Wall, had appeared. Courting death. Seeing the spirit fish being besieged, Yi Chunfeng's face instantly darkened. Dense killing intent erupted from his body as he was about to kill the enemy. Activate the restrictions. Seeing Yi Chunfeng's extremely ordinary face, Sha Bingyun frowned slightly. She could vaguely feel that he had changed his appearance. Immediately, she activated the restrictions and restricted the entire space. "Stop! All of you, come back!" Sha Bingyun shouted, stopping the experts who were besieging the spirit fish and calling them to her side. "What is the meaning of this? I don't think I have offended you," Yi Chunfeng asked coldly as he looked at Sha Bingyun with a sharp gaze. He vaguely guessed her identity. "Sir, please don't be angry. We didn't have any bad intentions just now." Sha Bingyun, who exuded a unique charm, was like a cold and arrogant winter sweet. She looked calmly at Yi Chunfeng and said slowly, "Humph, no bad intentions?" Yi Chunfeng snorted and said, "If you don't have any bad intentions, why did you restrict the space?" "I just want to make a deal with you," Sha Bingyun said emotionlessly. "Not interested," Yi Chunfeng coldly refused. "Before I become angry, I advise you all to disperse the restrictions. Otherwise, don't blame me for starting a massacre." In the outside world, Yi Chunfeng was not restrained by the Xingluo sky wall and could use his trump cards at will. Moreover, with the primal chaos divine wood and the 9-dragon jade annulus, he was confident that he could sweep through Sha Bingyun's group. "I advise you to listen to my deal. Maybe you will be interested." Sha Bingyun was unmoved and slowly said, "You all want the secret I learned from the 9 layers of sky wall in Xingluo, right?" Yi Chunfeng was too lazy to waste time with Sha Bingyun's group and directly asked, "Yes, I am indeed very interested in the secret you learned. I wonder if you are willing to share it with me? If you are willing, I can consider giving you some benefits." Sha Bingyun, who was as cold as ice, nodded. She looked at Yi Chunfeng coldly and spoke with the tone of a superior. "Very well, if you are willing to stay with me for a few nights and serve me, maybe I will be happy and share the secret with you." Yi Chunfeng hated Sha Bingyun's haughty tone. When he saw her cold and beautiful face, her voluptuous figure, and her alluring figure, he revealed a mocking smile and purposely mocked her. "You are courting death. As the city lord of Xingluo Sky City and the woman with the greatest authority in the entire Xingluo continent, Sha Bingyun had never been humiliated like this before. Her expression became very dark as a powerful murderous intent erupted from her chest like a volcano. "Angry already?" Yi Chunfeng smiled and playfully said, "The truth is, I feel that you should feel honored. After all, you are not a supreme beauty. You should be happy to receive my favor. I swear that I will make you regret being born in this world." After saying that, the furious Sha Bingyun took out a pair of low-grade Dao artifact rushing thunder dual swords. With a flash in the air, it was like a bolt of lightning as it attacked Yi Chunfeng. Mobile reading site, Book address. To make it easier for you to read this book next time, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this book. You will see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 834. Soul Suppressing Tablet. Sha Bingyun attacked with her Thunder Dual Swords. Yi Chunfeng activated the energy in his 5 meridians and unleashed a force of over 20 million jin. He blasted out the soul-suppressing tablet with his huge hand. The terrifying power shattered Sha Bingyun's attack and knocked back the incomparably sharp, low-grade Dao artifact rushing Thunder Dual Swords. What a powerful attack! Feeling the rebounding force from the Thunder Dual Swords, Sha Bingyun frowned and revealed a shocked expression. She was shocked by the toughness and strength of Yi Chunfeng's fist. Tai sword art. While Sha Bingyun was still in shock, Yi Chunfeng stepped on the void and spun around. 50 sword-based Dao patterns shot out and formed a boundless sword rain, attacking Sha Bingyun. Seeing Sha Bingyun being swept by the extremely sharp Tai sword technique, a vast and boundless energy spread out from Sha Bingyun's body. It was like a heavenly screen, blocking Yi Chunfeng's Tai sword rain. Break! Sha Bingyun spat out a single word. The boundless energy instantly shattered the 50 sword-based Dao patterns and rushed towards Yi Chunfeng like a surging tide. What kind of energy is this? Feeling the destructive energy from Sha Bingyun's body, Yi Chunfeng's expression changed slightly. He quickly crossed his arms in front of him and defended with all his might. But at this moment, the spiritual fish appeared beside him and unleashed its full force of 60 million jin. It punched towards Sha Bingyun. The terrifying energy from its body shattered the attack. Your strength is not bad. But no matter how powerful you are, you will not be able to escape death today. Sha Bingyun's eyes flashed with ferocity. She continued to merge with the powerful energy that appeared out of nowhere, increasing her strength little by little. In the blink of an eye, Sha Bingyun's strength reached the peak of Class 5 Combat Beast Emperor. She posed a great threat to Yi Chunfeng and the spiritual fish. In the next moment, a black figure split out from Sha Bingyun's body. It carried boundless killing intent and launched a destructive attack towards Yi Chunfeng and the spiritual fish. Could this be one of Xingluo's heavenly city Dao treasures, Xingluo's doppelganger? When Yi Chunfeng faced the black figure's attack head-on, he discovered that even a casual attack from the black figure had the might of a Dao treasure. He immediately guessed that this black figure should be one of the treasures of Starry Sky City, the Star Luo doppelganger. And the mysterious power that Sha Bingyun had fused with was most likely the power of Xingluo Sky City itself. By borrowing the power of Xingluo Sky City, Sha Bingyun could increase her cultivation by a whole realm. Sword Puppet, Space Swallower, come out! Although Yi Chunfeng had the ability to kill Sha Bingyun and severely injure Xingluo's doppelganger, he knew that now was not the time to reveal his trump cards. He summoned the Sword Puppet and the Space Swallower, and ordered the Sword Puppet to protect the Space Swallower and leave. What are you all standing there for? Kill that man and that beast. Seeing the sudden appearance of the Sword Puppet and the Space Swallower, Sha Bingyun ordered loudly. Upon receiving Sha Bingyun's order, a large number of Xingluo Sky City elites immediately attacked. They released earth-shattering attacks in an attempt to destroy the Sword Puppet and kill the Space Swallower. Although the attacks launched by dozens of Xingluo Sky City elites were terrifying, they could not shake the indestructible body of the Sword Puppet. The Sword Puppet protected the Space Swallower with all its might as it endured the attacks of the Xingluo Sky City elite. Under the devouring of the Space Swallower, a gap appeared in the Space Swallower. Seeing this, Sha Bingyun, who was attacking Yi Chunfeng with all her might, narrowed her eyes and looked even more gloomy. Black demonic scissors. Yi Chunfeng did not use his Dao intent recklessly. He summoned the pseudo-Dao treasure, Black demonic scissors, and controlled it to cut at Sha Bingyun. Yongya. The black demonic scissors tore through the Space Swallower. Sha Bingyun's two swords danced, and two pitch-black sword lights slashed down at the black demonic scissors. The moment the Yongye sword light slashed out, the space turned dark as all the light was swallowed by the Yongye sword light. Bang! Bang! The tough black demonic scissors were sent flying by Sha Bingyun's Yongye sword light. Then, Sha Bingyun, who had fused with the power of Xingluo Sky City, launched a series of attacks at Yi Qinfeng. Thunderbolt Flash. Dense sword shadows attacked, and Yi Qinfeng used the Thunderbolt Flash to dodge at full speed. While dodging, he continuously sent out terrifying palm radiance to shake Sha Bingyun. Master, the Space Swallower is open. Let's go. Just as Yi Qinfeng was tangling with Sha Bingyun with his speed, the Space Swallower bit through the Space Swallower and sent a message to Yi Qinfeng. Let's go. With the Space Swallower broken, Yi Qinfeng didn't want to continue fighting. With a thought, he kept the spiritual fish that was fighting with Xingluo's clone into the universe mirror. In the next moment, Yi Qinfeng used the Thunderbolt Flash to cut across the sky like a winding lightning bolt and flew towards the gap in the Space Swallower's Space Swallower. Where are you going? Seeing the spiritual fish disappear into thin air, Sha Bingyun's brows twitched. She quickly summoned back Xingluo's clone and chased after Yi Qinfeng at full speed. Die for me. Relying on her speed to get close to Yi Qinfeng, Sha Bingyun poured a large amount of soul power and Xingluo's Sky City's power into Xingluo's clone. She stimulated the power of Xingluo's clone and threw it out with all her might. With enough energy, the power of Xingluo's clone was limitless. It was like a killing machine in human form as it charged towards Yi Qinfeng. Seeing Yi Qinfeng being bombarded by Xingluo's clone, the sword puppet suddenly blocked Yi Qinfeng's back. It used its body to block the attack of Xingluo's clone. What a tough body! Seeing that the sword puppet was unharmed after being attacked by Xingluo's clone, Sha Bingyun was even more shocked. She didn't expect the sword puppet's body to be stronger than Xingluo's clone. Let's go! Yi Qinfeng kept the Space Swallower and the sword puppet into the universe mirror and flew out of the Space Swallower's Space Swallower's Space Swallower. Where do you think you're going? Seeing that Yi Qinfeng had easily broken through her trap, Sha Bingyun's eyes shone with a terrifying light. She chased after him closely. She would never allow Yi Qinfeng to escape with the secret of Xingluo's sky wall. Yi Qinfeng stepped on the thunder flash and drew streaks of lightning in the air. He kept dodging Sha Bingyun's continuous attacks as he flew above a vast mountain range that looked like a giant dragon. Thorn Prison. Relying on her shocking speed to break through Yi Qinfeng's fist radiance, Sha Bingyun's wood dowel gushed out from her body and formed a prison, trapping Yi Qinfeng inside. Go to hell! After successfully trapping Yi Qinfeng, Sha Bingyun stabbed in with her two swords. She wanted to pierce through Yi Qinfeng's body. You are still far from being able to kill me. The God Devourer brain's power erupted and locked onto Sha Bingyun's attack trajectory. Yi Qinfeng's body flashed slightly as he tore through the thorns that wrapped around his body. He brushed past the extremely sharp lightning swords and dodged behind Sha Bingyun. In the next moment, Yi Qinfeng raised his right hand and ruthlessly slapped at Sha Bingyun's perky and round buttocks. Slap! A crisp slap echoed as Yi Qinfeng's powerful slap shattered Sha Bingyun's physical defenses. It tore her clothes and left a bright red palm print on her perky buttock. Ah! Under the immense pain, Sha Bingyun let out a shameful cry. The tingling sensation on her buttocks drove her crazy and infuriated her. It made her want to tear Yi Qinfeng into pieces. Go to hell! The humiliated Sha Bingyun went crazy. She attacked Yi Qinfeng with all her might. Wave after wave of attacks, each stronger than the last, sent Yi Qinfeng crashing into the mountain range. However, when Yi Qinfeng fell into the dragon-like mountain range, he suddenly disappeared. Where is he? Why did he disappear? Sensing that Yi Qinfeng's aura had disappeared, the enraged Sha Bingyun immediately released her powerful soul power to cover a few dozen miles. However, she realized that Yi Qinfeng had really disappeared. Where did he go? Could it be that he has a spatial treasure? Recalling the scene where the spiritual fish disappeared in front of her eyes, Sha Bingyun, who was bathed in blue light, immediately summoned the experts from Xingluo Heaven City to search every inch of Yi Chunfeng. However, the existence of the universe realm was too heaven-defying. No matter how the experts from Xingluo Heaven City turned the mountain range upside down, they still couldn't find Yi Chunfeng. On the other hand, the story of Yi Chunfeng leaving his name on the 90-foot celestial wall and escaping from the experts from Xingluo Heaven City spread like a gust of wind and spread throughout the entire Xingluo Heaven City. Even the old city lord of Xingluo Heaven City, Sha Tianyao, who rarely showed himself, was alerted. He searched for Yi Chunfeng but to no avail. Very quickly, half a year had passed. The chaotic Xingluo Heaven City gradually regained its peace. Mobile reading website, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the bookmark button at the bottom to record your reading history. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 835. The Myriad Bamboo Garden was a famous restaurant in the eastern part of Xingluo Heaven City. It was located in the depths of a verdant bamboo forest. Because the Myriad Bamboo Garden produced a type of green bamboo leaf wine that was loved by the experts of Xingluo Heaven City, the Myriad Bamboo Garden was very popular. Every day there would be an endless stream of people coming here to drink. Big Brother Fengchen, I've finally found you. A tall and slender woman with snow-white skin wearing a tight white dress appeared in the bamboo garden. Her figure was curvaceous, her butt was perky, and her crotch was plump. Every frown and smile of hers was filled with a myriad of emotions. Under the burning gazes of many pairs of eyes, she walked to an ancient wooden table near the window and looked at a man who was drinking alone and softly said. This man was none other than Yi Chunfeng, who had disguised himself and snuck into Xingluo Heaven City. What's the matter? Looking at Xing Manyu's beautiful face, Yi Chunfeng put down the wine cup in his hand and asked slowly. My Falling Star Pavilion's Vice Pavilion Master wants to see Big Brother Fengchen to thank you for saving my life. Do you have time? Xing Manyu sat in front of Yi Chunfeng and gently poured him a cup of green bamboo leaf wine that emitted a delicate fragrance. Okay, after I finish this bottle of green bamboo leaf wine, I'll go with you to the Falling Star Pavilion. Yi Chunfeng was still unfamiliar with Xingluo Heaven City, and he wanted to know more about Xingluo Heaven City through the Falling Star Pavilion. Thank you, Big Brother Fengchen. Xing Manyu revealed a charming smile that was like a blooming flower. She rested her chin on one hand and waited quietly. Give me 10 more jars of green bamboo leaf wine. After drinking the green bamboo leaf wine that he liked, Yi Chunfeng ordered 10 more jars and kept them in his yin and yang ring. After paying for the wine, he left with Xing Manyu. Looking at Yi Chunfeng's ordinary face, Xing Manyu asked expectantly, Big Brother Fengchen, you should be one of the first people to ascend the heaven's path, right? Did you see the genius who left his name on the 30 zhang wall? What did he look like? No, when I ascended the heaven's path, I didn't see anyone special under the Xingluo Heaven City. Yi Chunfeng shook his head and said lightly. I really want to see what kind of genius could pass all the tests in Xingluo Heaven City and have the same talent as Senior Star Emperor? Xing Manyu said with admiration. You will see him. Yi Chunfeng smiled and looked at Xing Manyu's beautiful face. Really? Xing Manyu's eyes. Really, I promise. Yi Chunfeng nodded and said without hesitation. As they chatted, Yi Chunfeng followed Xing Manyu to the eastern part of the city. There was an ancient-looking building with 2 stone chelins standing at the entrance. It was shrouded in restrictions outside the courtyard. Big Brother Fengchen, this is the Falling Star Pavilion's branch in Xingluo Heaven City. Xing Manyu pointed at the ancient courtyard and said in a good mood. What a powerful restriction! Looking at the restriction that enveloped the Falling Star Pavilion, Yi Chunfeng showed a trace of admiration. Such a powerful restriction was definitely made by a master. Our Vice Pavilion Master spent a huge price and countless precious materials to set up this restriction. Even ordinary Emperor-level experts wouldn't be able to break it. Xing Manyu explained without hiding anything and led Yi Chunfeng into the heavily guarded branch of the Falling Star Pavilion. Following the winding corridors, Yi Chunfeng walked into a secluded and beautiful courtyard. As they talked, they walked. Very soon, the two of them arrived outside a grand and magnificent hall. Vice Pavilion Master, I've invited Big Brother Feng Qin here. Walking into the hall, where there were many weapons hanging on the walls, Xing Manyu bowed slightly and greeted a beautiful young woman with fair skin and a charming charm. She was wearing a purple robe with phoenix patterns. Vice Pavilion Master, hello. Yi Chunfeng didn't expect that the person in charge of the Falling Star Pavilion in Xingluo Heaven City would be a woman. He was surprised. Feng Qin, thank you for saving Yuan Feng and the other two. Looking at Yi Chunfeng, who was tall and straight but had an ordinary face, the Vice Pavilion Master of the Falling Star Pavilion, Xing Keru, said softly with a charming smile. Although Yi Chunfeng's aura wasn't strong, Xing Keru felt an inexplicable sense of danger when she looked at him. It made her feel as though she was staring at a ferocious beast. It's just a small matter. Vice Pavilion Master, you don't have to take it to heart, Yi Chunfeng said with a smile. He was neither arrogant nor humble. No, this is a great favor. We have to repay it. Xing Keru shook her head lightly and said, Feng Qin, I don't know what you want. As long as we have it, we'll definitely satisfy you. Vice Pavilion Master, I've just arrived at Xingluo Heaven City and am unfamiliar with this place. If you have time, can you tell me more about Xingluo Heaven City? Yi Chunfeng said. It's that simple? Xing Keru asked in surprise. This is very important to me, Yi Chunfeng said with a nod. All right, then I'll tell you more about Xingluo Heaven City. Sit. Xing Keru gestured for Yi Chunfeng to sit down and asked someone to pour a cup of green tea for him. She said, the most attractive thing in Xingluo Heaven City is undoubtedly the Triple Lightning Territory. There are many cultivation resources in the Lightning Territory that make the outside world jealous, such as the Thunder Pavilion, Wind Pavilion, and so on. The Triple Lightning Territory is divided into the North, South, East, and West territories. Each Lightning Territory has a territory master, and the 4 Lightning Territories are not connected to each other. Above the Triple Lightning Territory is the Illusory Star Territory. The Path of Lightning Tribulation, Thunder Dao Heavenly Pavilion, and 9 levels of the Heaven Staircase are all in the Star Territory. Almost all the top geniuses in Xingluo Heaven City want to enter the Star Territory to cultivate. Vice Pavilion Master, what are the conditions to enter the Star Territory? Yi Chunfeng took the risk to come to Xingluo Heaven City to train because of the Path of Lightning Tribulation and 9 levels of the Heaven Staircase. Points. As long as you have enough points, you can enter the Star Territory. Xing Keru said, however, it is not easy to earn points in Xingluo Heaven City. Every time you enter a Lightning Territory, you need to spend points. It can be said that in Xingluo Heaven City, points are more useful than top-grade soul crystals. With points, you can exchange them for any treasure you want. Vice Pavilion Master, how many points do I need to enter the Triple Lightning Territory? Yi Chunfeng asked. Entering the first Lightning Territory requires 100,000 points. Entering the second Lightning Territory requires 1 million points. Entering the third Lightning Territory requires 10 million points. Entering the Star Territory requires 50 million points. Xing Keru slowly said. Vice Pavilion Master, what are the methods to earn points? Yi Chunfeng continued asking. Martial arena, gambling, accepting missions, selling soul crystals, treasures, etc. You can earn points. However, Xingluo Heaven City intentionally raised the value of points, causing soul crystals and treasures to depreciate greatly. In the outside world, extremely precious heavenly treasures and top-grade heavenly artifacts can only be exchanged for 500,000 points, Xing Keru said. The exchange value of points is so high. Yi Chunfeng frowned and muttered to himself, "It seems that it is impossible to enter the star territory in a short time. Vice Pavilion Master, I have 5 top-grade heavenly artifacts, 1 pseudo-Dao artifact, and 3 top-grade heavenly pills. I wonder if Vice Pavilion Master can help me sell them and exchange them for point. After the matter is done, I will give Vice Pavilion Master a 5% commission." Yi Chunfeng was too unfamiliar with Xingluo Heaven City. He wanted to use the channels that the Falling Star Pavilion had built over countless years to sell the treasures and exchange them for point. "Feng Chen, are you really going to sell these treasures?" When Xing Keru and the others saw the treasures that Yi Chunfeng took out, their eyes widened as they asked in shock. This was especially true for the pseudo-Dao tool. She was even more fond of it. "Yes. May I know how many points these treasures can be exchanged for?" Yi Chunfeng nodded and asked. "Generally, a top-grade heaven artifact can be exchanged for 500,000 points. A top-grade heaven pill is slightly less valuable, and one can be exchanged for about 200,000 points. As for a pseudo-Dao artifact, its value is extremely high, and it can be exchanged for 3 million points. All of your treasures can be exchanged for about 6 million points. How about this? I will give you 6,500,000 points. How about you sell these treasures to the Falling Star Pavilion?" The more Xing Keru looked at the treasures that Yi Chunfeng was going to sell, the more she liked them. She was deeply attracted to them. She gritted her teeth and prepared to buy them herself to strengthen the Falling Star Pavilion. "Okay, deal." Yi Chunfeng agreed without even thinking. Then, he exchanged for 6,500,000 points from Xing Keru. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button below to record this reading record. You will see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support.